Yo,
What's going on, everybody? What's up?
what's up? What's up?
All right, clap your hands together to the first episode of the RJD Podcast. Hey, I'm your host here, Daryl. We got the casual Justin all the way in H-Town. We got Rodney down up here in Virginia, and we got Zeno.
Zeno. Coming straight out of where? Where? Tell them where you from.
Tell us where you from, man.
I am from the UK, specifically in London. I'm a Philly fan. I enjoy playing basketball, watching basketball.
God,
I like chatting as well. So yeah,
I feel so bad for you, man. So bad.
Let's just let y'all know a little bit.
Yeah, I feel bad. No, because Philly fans got it worse than Atlanta fans. You see, at least Atlanta fans are sitting there. They just wait. They waiting for like that one time where they can make it to the Eastern Conference Final, and they think they're successful. Philly actually has they have title hopes, and they keep on getting let down by that.
Let's keep it real. A lot of our Eastern Conference chances to reach at least the ECF has either been it was called Ben Simmons, elbow to the face by Raptors, injured by the Raptors again.
Okay.
Injured again by the Raptors, or Ben Simmons being what's called injured, and then in Brooklyn. Yeah, and in Brooklyn.
So what was his excuse in Atlanta?
Embiid playing on one knee and giving you 30. Ben Simmons just not existing in game 6 or 7. What's called Tobias Harris deciding that he wanted to be a double agent in that series as well.
He was ready for this. I just want to let you know that he was ready. He was ready.
Oh, he definitely was.
He had that answer. He had that answer for you.
I mean, it could have been that, or just the amazing live contest that we was having, but it is what it is.
Hey, because I know for a fact you can't be talking about Trae Young having a great series because Trae Young was me.
I didn't say it. Hold on. So Trae Young didn't have a great series, but then you got beat by a Red Rocket, who was not even the best player on the team.
Because when you focus onto Trae Young, you're hoping that the rest of your team can beat you, of course. And
Trae Young wasn't even in the game. He was hurt when the Red Velvet went off on y'all.
No, he wasn't.
He was.
Was he?
Yes. The game he was hurt, that's when the Red Velvet went live.
I need to see this. Oh, boy.
Well, look, I'm going to go check right now. What?
Stroke.
I do remember Maxey cooking y'all too in Atlanta, but that's fair.
That didn't do very much for him, did it?
Trae Young in the Philly series, was he hurt? I don't remember him being hurt. I thought he played every single game.
He was hurt. He was hurt in the Bucks series. I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
Yeah, he got hurt in the Philly season. He got hurt in the Philly series.
You learn something new every day. Because if this is true, because I swear I didn't know this.
It's not 1920. It's 2021, I'm pretty sure.
Anyway, he live. Let's go.
He played every single game.
We ain't even talking about Atlanta right now. Let's go, Big Daryl.
All right.
Lee, we're going to waste 20 minutes right now. Come on, man. Business.
Rodney is
business. You messy. We starting and talking about something totally different from the schedule. Stay on schedule. Golly.
He's so nasty for this right now. He's so nasty for this.
Well, just in case for our viewers who are going to be watching this later or right now, if y'all can't tell, Rodney is a Hawks fan. Zeno, he a Philly fan, clearly. Justin, he's a Milwaukee Bucks fan.
And, wow. I never knew that.
Yeah.
What the hell? What does that mean?
We just gonna move on, and then of course,
it's weird. It's so weird how one of the youngest people here is love the oldest team.
Rodney.
It's awkward.
Rodney, there's never a podcast without one Lakers fan, man.
Of course it isn't. Why would it?
Hey.
And that is Daryl. That is Daryl for sure.
A resident Lakers fan. All right, let's go.
Yes, the Lakers fan, 17-time champion.
Now I will
swept by the Bucks. Not the Bucks, by the Nuggets.
So chat.
Oh no.
So I'm finna put y'all in the back room real quick. So basically, we have a group chat that we be talking basketball all the time in. And Daryl comes to us while I'm at work and Rodney is chilling, bothering nobody. And he comes at us with this bullshit logic that the 2020 Lakers championship is to be compared to the 2010 championship that y'all won 10 years ago. I mean, well, no, 13 years ago now.
Look.
And he made it seem like that championship meant nothing. The top of the discussion was LeBron and how and like what's the worst thing he did to your franchise.
And that was going through Twitter, yeah.
And his reference was, well, he won us a championship. That's the worst he did to them. He got y'all a championship.
No.
I did not.
In a bubble, in a circular motion, like it don't matter. Like,
but still, I'm a Lakers fan. I not back myself up and say that I'm competitive. You know, we got him when he first came in. I expected to be in the playoffs,
and that's your problem.
Well, guess what? You wasn't.
I'm a competitor. What you want
missed
me
the
to
playoffs.
do?
What a chip. Got swept got put out in 6 in the first round. Then you missed the playoffs, and then you went into the Eastern Conference Final.
Look, man, you made it to the Eastern Conference Final. We beat y'all in the finals
when y'all were healthy, and when y'all were healthy, as soon as y'all got healthy,
when you
he was sweating that whole time.
Because you guys can stack the deck. Oh, you beat us
exactly.
In the 60, right?
Exactly.
All right, let's get on track. Let's get on track now.
Okay. All right.
Let's get on track, y'all. All right, first topic of discussion: NBA rules, the new rules in place. Okay. So we got a couple that just came recently about one of them, the flopping rule. How basically now, if you flop, you'll be assessed a technical foul. The team gets a free throw and the ball. And the second rule for coaches, the challenge play. So if coaches choose to go and challenge a play, they win it, they get a second. So, fellas, tell me about how you feel about these two big rules.
The one I want to specifically talk about first is the flopper rule. And the only thing I want to talk about is it's going to be funny watching refs actually
have to decipher.
Watch and try and see if it's a flop or if it's actually real. It's going to be so fun to watch it and see so many games decided by refs not understanding that everything can be really up to interpretation. So it's going to be very fun to watch teams getting scammed out of wins.
Oh man, I can't wait to not see LeBron flop all over the place.
That is good.
I don't know why main culprit. Why? Because I watched that whole playoff, that Western Conference Finals, and so many times I'm looking at LeBron get touched, and he. What is that?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why LeBron did that. The whole reason why is if you watched, I want to say before the Lakers, he never did that. And if you watched, he realized that a lot of these players that are able to constantly get foul calls, they do sell the contact. And he usually just plays through it. Like, is it 2018 when he reached the finals? And that was like his great run. There's actually a layup he did against the Celtics. And you saw him go up against Tatum and Brown, and they called it. But I'm pretty sure you guys remember that when they grabbed onto his arm and he still laid it up. Like he's doing it now because at this point he has to sell it because these refs are not giving him certain calls because he's that strong. That's why.
Okay, real quick, I totally agree with that. What you just said. I was looking away because I was trying not to look at Justin because literally he called me 2 minutes, not even 2 seconds after it happened, and was like, "What is that?" I'm like, "You're right." I watched it, went back. That was wrong. They should have called that. They didn't call it. He may not have had the angle. That happens. Play on. But what I'm talking about is there was a loose ball, and LeBron goes. He literally had the ball. And I can't think if it was Brown or Gordon who just kind of bumped him just a little bit, and he flies into the crowd.
Damn.
Like, what? What are you doing?
are you doing, bro?
What are you doing? But at the same time, he wasn't the only culprit in that series. Everybody was doing literally the most except for Jokic. Jokic was just doing what Jokic does, being really big for no reason.
But since you want to talk about LeBron out of like all people flopping, you also forgetting about Chris Paul, Marcus Smart.
No, Daryl, you are not gonna let him slide with that. You are not gonna let him slide with that. What did you just say, Rodney?
Yeah, I was not gonna say anything when that guy just randomly said being big.
Just randomly, he's just randomly throwing slugs
big
at
for no
people.
reason.
Like, what are we doing?
He's like,
who's throwing slugs? Jokic is just big. He's just country big. It's ridiculous.
He said he's just big for no reason. What?
No reason at this point, man. It's so unnecessary. Like, be normal.
Look, man, all I know is I don't understand how Rodney is the first name that he brings up is LeBron James when he has a king flopper on his favorite team.
I know Trae Young.
Like I don't understand how LeBron is the first name that comes to your mind.
Because LeBron is the only person that claimed to be the best in the world before anybody gave him that damn title.
He was the best in the world from like 2010 on.
Ain't nobody told him that yet. Nobody opened their mouth and said that before he opened his mouth.
I told him.
Lord, gee, of course you did. Yeah.
Yeah, I told him. I said, Bron, you're better. You're better than Kobe. You're better than KD. You're better than all of them niggas. And he went. And you want to know what he did? He proceeded to run on and win 4 championships within the span of a decade. Man, come on, stop playing with my man, bro. Stop playing with my man. But
what was the other off season? No, the other rule change other than the
flopping.
So other than the
flopping, we talked about flopping.
The
challenge.
One thing I will say about the flopping thing is I definitely agree with Zeno. I feel like the referees for at least up to the half mark of the season are going to struggle really big with deciphering what exactly is a flop and who's actually receiving that contact. And forget the people that are going to be going to be given like text for flops that they probably didn't flop. What about the people that actually are flopping that because the referees are going to be ultra sensitive, they're probably not going to give those calls. So it works in their benefit. I think this is going to be real interesting to see the calls that they're going to make on which plays. And we're going to have a whole lot of conversations this upcoming season about games that are going to be basically assisted wins by the referees to said team.
We've already seen a lot of those games last year, and we're going to get even more this year.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It's look, Rodney knows it's well documented in our text messages how the games that I'm thinking of that were robbed from the Lakers. Oddly enough, it was robbed.
He just brought that. That's why I was looking away. I knew you were gonna bring it up.
No. I'm not even talking about the Celtics. How about the Lakers versus Mavericks?
Is that the one where LeBron was like on the floor?
Yep. Or how about the one with Westbrook? Well, he had gotten to the rim. I forget what team it was against, but he had gotten all the way.
It was Philly. It was Philly, and I'm telling you right now, that is not what happened, and he should have not done that in the first place.
Oh yeah, you know exactly what I'm thinking of.
I know exactly what you're talking about because we had this conversation.
Talked about it right after
it was him. It was him and Joel Embiid, and
he had gotten baseline, and he was trying to swing it to the other corner.
No, he was going up for a shot.
I think he was.
No, he was swinging it, Rodney.
He was swinging.
How do you swing it up here?
Boom.
But he never came down. He stayed up. He was at the rim.
How? Okay, you don't know what action he could have pulled off because he got hacked in that sense.
He didn't
He got blocked.
He got blocked. First off, he shouldn't have had the ball in the first daggone place He wasn't doing nothing.
Okay, I agree
at all.
But like that's neither here nor there. We're talking about what actually happened.
We're talking about the
and
play.
what actually happened is he got blocked. It wasn't a foul.
It was a foul. It was a foul.
Rodney, it was a foul.
It was a foul, bro. It was a foul. But that's neither here. Okay, even if you don't want to give Philly, you done already given me Boston and Dallas. So
I'm gonna give you Boston and Dallas because that literally was a foul. They hit him on his arm, not the hand of the ball, which is
either way.
The ball.
Either way, you've already agreed to it. You done already told us that you agree that this past season the referees made a lot of messed up calls.
Of course they did.
They made a lot of messed up calls, more so than this year.
They only have two eyes. They humans.
They were not making these mistakes in past years. They actually were. No, not this frequent. It felt like every game there was a call that was game changing in like crucial moments.
It's because of this flopping foolishness. Honestly, I really feel it's more because of the flopping call.
It boils down to the flops.
I think it's a bigger issue than just flops. I think flopping is one part of the conversation, but I also think that these referees are being ultra sensitive to just minor physical tactics on the defense.
But that's what they're arguing. That's what players keep arguing every time they go down the court. LeBron, Dame, Harden, always arguing for this or for that. Instead of playing ball, hey, you missed it, or you got hit. Either you missed it, you hit, whatever.
Wait, so are you saying
move on?
Wait, so are you?
Okay, so tell Trae Young to move on too.
Damn.
I mean, when LA gets here and he's moves on with threes in your eye, no matter.
He's not wrong, so I don't know.
Let's move on to the second rule.
Not Daryl. Rodney's trying to say in a whole point. He's essentially trying to say that it's two parts of the situation, because one part is the refs being ultra sensitive and calling certain stuff that's not there, but then the other point is the referee is reacting to the superstars complaining about not getting calls or calls not going that way. You guys are bringing up all these players and you forgot the most heinous player when it comes to this thing. His name is Luka Doncic. He does it so much. Oh my god! Like, Mavs fans complain about it. That's how bad it is.
Well, he's not wrong.
So like that's what we're talking about. Like those players who are not willing to play through contact and actually try to go up. I get it. At a certain point, that's why I agree with you, Rodney. But I feel like it's two parts of this situation.
Let me ask you a question.
But it's also the players.
Let me ask you a question, Z. Who did he learn it from? Because he didn't just walk into the league making the decision that he was going to do it. There's been players in the league way past him that did it.
Who you finna?
And they've been doing it.
Definitely not my favorite player of all time, James Harden. Definitely not him. When did he look away?
You sure about that?
Nope. My favorite player of all time, James Harden, doesn't flop at all.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Oh man, I can't wait till we get to this conversation.
Right, the other player has initiated. I've never seen one time that he's initiated contact.
Oh man,
you've never seen
him initiate contact? Is he as bad as Jimmy Butler? Probably not, but he's about as bad. He's about as bad.
I know what you're talking about.
We gotta talk about the time he initiated contact on Brandon Ingram when Ingram was about to swing on him.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh wow! So we just okay. I see what this is. He's trolling. He definitely
is.
My favorite player doesn't do anything wrong.
Oh, man.
Look, you lost me as soon as you said James Harden.
Yeah, he don't do that.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Let's what was it? The second rule, coaches challenge. So coaches, last season we saw that if they won the challenge, that was it. they didn't get a second one, or if they lost the challenge, they lost the timeout. So now what the NBA has decided to do is if you win the challenge, you get an extra. Let's talk about it. How are we feeling about that rule?
I like the fact that that they're finally going to give the coaches that opportunity, because I feel like a lot of games when the referees do what we were talking about earlier, where they get doing these ticky-tack calls, and the coach obviously is going to challenge those calls, being able to reward them when they're correct. And allowing them to be able to challenge another call down the line that's closer to the end of games, and being able to challenge that call as well. I think that's wonderful. Now the question is, how many times are we going to see those successful challenges that's going to lead to them getting a second challenge? Because if you guys I don't know if you guys have looked, but over the last couple of years since like this coach's challenge started to become a thing, it's not as many successful calls as you guys think.
How much percentage wise? Do you know?
I think it was last time I looked. I think they've gotten about like 20%, right?
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, like it's not like they're getting it right. And to partially, like I just want to throw this out there. I'm not throwing the referees under the bus, Rodney, but partially, some of these referees don't want to be wrong. So even when they see it, they don't want to acknowledge that they were wrong on that call. So
it's also not just them. They are getting advice from whoever else is watching.
Up in the higher ups. I agree.
You're watching this, and I've listened to a bunch of commentators like, "Yo, that is that call." I'm watching it back. He's right. That's that call.
Yeah, but you telling me that you haven't seen the equal amount of calls where. You telling me that you haven't seen an equal amount of calls where, like, they say that call is not there. The coach challenges it. They go back, and the fans see the same thing that the referees are seeing, and they all agree that is the call. They got
it comes back as a non-challenge or the fail. I get you. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, there's been a lot of times that's happened. And I feel like it's a good thing now that if the coach gets his call right, he should be rewarded.
He should.
I want to get my point off here.
Okay.
Because my point is, it's a mixture between you both. I genuinely, one part I want to say, I don't know. Yeah, I want you guys to answer this. Why the hell did they not do this in the first place? Why was it only a one thing from the start? I think that should have always been a thing where if you win a coach challenge, you should get another coach challenge. Because if you guys have slowly watched over the years, at the start, people were just blowing their coaches challenge in the first quarter and the second quarter, trying to stop like momentum building up. Now the coaches challenge have predominantly only been used in the fourth quarter, and it's specifically, especially in the playoffs, it's specifically to stop their rim protector or their bigs from getting fouled out because they need that rim protection. For example, I think that's happened to AD, that they've called a coach's challenge specifically on a call or something so that AD doesn't get called off the court, or it's happened to Sabonis or those type of players, because at the same point they realize even if you win it during like the second quarter, third quarter, that player is still going to have 4 or 5 fouls. So you're still going to have to sit them out, right? So what's the point of wasting your coach's challenge at that time rather than in the fourth quarter when you can destroy your momentum in that situation? Which is why I understand. Yeah, which is why I understand. But yeah, carry.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to say this because the pinning is a crucial moment in the game.
Yeah.
Once he goes out, it becomes a run for the opposite team.
I agree.
So if I do it in the third quarter, that means that is a longer time that my star big man or defender or scorer is out of the game. And we may be hurting because he's a key piece to that. Like Steph Curry, they do it all the time for Steph just to make sure he don't get too many fouls. Draymond Green, they got to make sure that these guys stay on the court for as long as possible. So that's why you call it in certain times, not just the fourth quarter. It isn't just the fourth quarter.
I do agree.
It is just that four fouls. Like they're quick, like they fouls come real quickly sometimes. Like you get one foul, and the next thing you know, you accidentally, standing there with your hands up, and
you get
went up under you. Yeah, you get that foul, and they're like, "Dang, what am I supposed to do?" Because at this point, I definitely can't do anything. Like I can't contest him because you're gonna call a foul. I can't play tough defense because you're gonna call a foul.
So, so correction. So this past season, it was 27%. So that was a downgrade.
Yeah, that's worse than a 3.
But we all acknowledge that this season it was a lot of it was some shady shit as far as like the calls and stuff like that. But
for sure,
the reason why these calls, the reason why this second challenge has been like in the motion apparently for the last 3 years is because of the first season where it was implemented, which is the 2019-2020 season, and then the following season in 2020-2021, it was a 44.4% success rate.
Nice. That's probably as good as it should have been.
And then the next year it went up even higher to 48.1%.
Oh boy.
Get out of 719 calls that were challenged, it was 346 that came out to be successful. And then
we slow the game down.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand why.
Which I mean, that's a different discussion. I'm just talking about as far as the success rates goes for the head coaches. The last 2 seasons versus the first 2 seasons that this challenge was implemented. I think that they would probably go for the latter to support their argument.
Do you also believe? I have a question for you guys. Do you believe that certain some of those numbers have been misconstrued because certain coaches uses the coaches challenge for like a way to rest their player without wasting? Oh wait, no, you still waste the timeout if you lose it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. I was gonna say it feels like another way of you getting a timeout without actually getting a timeout. But no.
Because say you use all of your say you use all of your timeouts, right?
Yeah.
You still technically could use that challenge.
Oh well, then yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so it is a possibility that could be a thing, but I haven't seen any cases that support that. But I think it's definitely possible that could be the case.
I think it will happen, like especially this season, because we're going to come down to seeing coaches who are like, crap, I got to put this player in the game, but I don't want to risk using this my last timeout. Let me just do a coach's challenge, and then so I can be able to get them in.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Absolutely.
So these rules they're going to be very interesting coming in this 23-24 season. So I know we're all excited about it, especially since we actually did see the flop rule get used already in Summer League, which was actually quite hilarious because the guy did flop and they got it. So we're going to see how that goes on. All right, moving on to next. The Dame Time Trade Machine. Dame Dollar, let's get to it. About Damian Lillard from the Portland Trail Blazers requesting a trade. So from what we all heard is Miami, they're the number 1 team on the market who Dame has interest in getting traded to. But unfortunately for Portland's ownership, they can make that trade if they want to and request what he wants, or they could just trade him elsewhere. So let's talk about it. How are we feeling about that?
I'm excited for Dame.
About the situation.
I can't wait for him to move.
Yeah, we're talking about like what's our thoughts on the situation of Dame? Dame getting like finally being traded, or we talking about like the trades we've been hearing about?
First, let's talk about the trades we've been hearing about.
Okay. As far as the trades that I've been hearing about, specifically to Miami, I ain't gonna lie to you, it's not moving me. I've been hearing people like supporting the theory that Dame, Jimmy, and Bam is enough for them to be in the hierarchy of title contenders. I got news for y'all. the Miami Heat this year and years past is better than a Dame, Jimmy, and Bam collaboration because you are nuking your entire roster in exchange for you to have those 3 star caliber players on your team. And that's not hyperbolic. That's literally what would have to happen for you to make a trade for Dame. When you look at everybody else that's in the East, when you're looking at the Milwaukees of the world, when you're looking at the Celtics of the world, hell, when you're looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers of the world, they have deeper benches. They have better all around talent throughout their roster than the Miami Heat would have if they traded for Dame in exchange for giving up a young thoroughbred and Tyler Hero who just coming off another year scoring 20 plus points per game. You're giving up a promising young talent in Max Strus, not Max Strus. What's him call it? Caleb Martin.
Oh, Caleb Martin.
Because if I'm Portland, I don't see a reason why I would not ask for a young talent that just proved himself in a playoff, in a really good playoff.
Still young.
Exactly, he's still young. So, like, I guess the trade that I've been hearing the most is the Miami Heat trade, and it just does not make sense to me. Now, I want to throw this out to you guys, and I don't know how you guys feel about.
Before you go around, I just want to say something. Caleb Martin is 27. He is not young.
27 is not young? What? Damn, what are we doing?
Hey, you call me old now?
Hey, outside's looking real nice today.
Hey, man.
I'm like, when I'm old?
Wait, Thomas, so what's 25?
When I think of young, I think of young as 26 and under. Because remember, when we usually do the best young players in the league, you usually do 26 and under, right?
No.
When do you stop?
Well, no. If we're talking about best young talents, I say you stop at 24.
Exactly. So if we usually 25, stop at 24,
but 25 to 28 is maturation time.
Yeah. That's like entering your prime. So I wouldn't say if you're entering your prime.
I disagree.
Depends on who you're talking to.
Okay. This is the way I look at it. 19, which is when you usually come into the league these days. 19 to 24, you're basically honing in on your skills. You're just getting better over time.
Yeah.
25 to 28 is basically maturation time. Now it's time for you to, you're growing mentally into your, into the skill set that you've built over that span of time. 28 to 32, that's your prime. That's when your prime kicks in. Like not prime, when your peak kicks in. You're at peak level where your mental IQ and your physical ability matches at the same level when you're playing at the best you could ever play at. And then the rest of the years that you're in the league is basically you're basically just laying down like the icing on the cake. That's it. So when I look at a player like Caleb Martin, I remember when Caleb Martin got drafted by Charlotte, and him and his twin, and the player he was then versus the player he was in this postseason, two completely different players.
I feel like one part, but I feel like a part of it is that the Hornets as a franchise when it comes to developing talent and also the coaching is just horrible. And then you're going from Portland. You're going from the Nets. So the Hornets, which has a terrible coach and not a terrible coach, but a bad coach and a bad talent. Working on talent compared
bad
to
ownership.
Yeah, and bad ownership. Then you're going to the Heat, who is known as one of the best at making most of your talent. And then you're going to one of the best coaches of all time in Eric Spoelstra. That's the person that's known for utilizing any bit of talent you have in you. So of course he's gonna look better when it comes to being here compared to there. He's being used by one of the best coaches of all time. Come on now.
But okay.
I get where you're going with it. I really do. But
I feel like it's
being that
less.
young. He just came in the league. He had no one to kind of help him mold to where he was going.
Because
So
he's
if
only
he
been
stayed
in the league for 4 years.
What I'm trying to say is, right, I feel like it's less of him changing or like he's become more comfortable with the league rather than he has more playing time and he has more time to actually understand, to actually show teams what he can actually do. I think it's more that he has more playing time, so he can show you what you're doing compared to okay, he's worked on this specific thing, and you could see that is much more different.
Okay. I got a question for you. How many games of Charlotte did you watch when Caleb Martin was playing?
I watched LaMelo's rookie season. So
okay. I mean, that's more than enough. That's more than enough. Okay. Do you remember seeing Caleb Martin play great quality defense?
No, I don't remember seeing him do that.
Okay. This postseason, this entire regular season,
I will agree with.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what when I say that Caleb Martin is a talented young player. Yeah. I'm not saying he's going to turn into an all-star caliber player. I'm not even saying he's going to turn into a quality starter for every team. What I'm saying is, you just watch what he was capable of bringing you in really a lot of minutes that he probably wouldn't get on other rosters if they were in the same position.
Yeah.
So if you're the Portland and you don't have that many young talents, young thoroughbreds that actually are great professionally in the league as far as being professional, why would you not want a player like him who no matter how many minutes you're going to give him, because Eric Spoelstra was pretty spotty throughout the entire season on his minutes to Caleb Martin, and yet Caleb Martin was able to be ready throughout all of that to give you great quality minutes when you asked him. If you're Portland, that's more than enough for you. You have Scoot Henderson, you have Anthony Simons, you got Shaedon Sharpe, Jeremy Grant. You have your starting lineup set. All you need is to lay the groundwork and get some professionals in the league. And who's better a professional than somebody that's still close to the young guys' age, to where he can relate and still be able to tell them, hey, this is how the league works. I know because I've been through it recently. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm just kind of sitting down and I'm just thinking, like, when I'm looking at the roster for Portland Trailblazers, I just don't. I'm kind of looking at it and I'm thinking I don't really know if they really want Caleb Martin, in a sense that, because they have Jeremy Grant that's going to be taking star minutes, and then they have Nazir Little, which you want to hone in on him specifically because he's already showed a lot of promise, right? I think
he hasn't shown enough.
Not enough for me.
To say we don't.
You think that?
What have you seen from watching? Because I haven't watched a whole lot of.
He's a great hustle guy. I think he's decent defensively. I think he's decent rebounding as well. But I think he could work onto those things to become better on that end.
So basically,
I saw more of Cam Reddish than I saw of Little. I can't lie to you.
Basically, you just said
Cam Reddish got more playing time because people are still thinking of his thinking of his potential.
Justin, shut up.
I'm getting started. I'm about to get it started. I'm about to get it started.
Paul George, okay, stop playing with him. Stop playing with him. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
That's the only thing. I think that's the main part. People are still thinking he can tap into that. So
it's not.
He can tap into it.
On a side note, I think that Cam Reddish has already shown that he's a great defender. Like he could be a great defender. Like he's shown in the playoffs when he was playing for the Hawks. But it's just that offense, and sometimes you can see on the offense he knows what he's trying to do, but he doesn't know where he wants to go to.
Did you say he played the offense? He played defense with the Hawks? No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Did he not play well in a Bucks series? I'm pretty sure
defensively. No, he did not. It's the reason why he was sitting on the bench.
Hey, man. Cam was playing good defense. He was giving you great offense. If I remember correctly, he averaged like 36 points a game.
He's trolling.
Solid efficiency. He was locking Giannis up. He was.
And then the Hawks gave him up before they gave Luke.
Yeah, no, for real. I actually think I remember seeing something on the news saying that he was the best player in the NBA. I don't know.
What a troll.
What, it was on your news channel?
Yeah.
Oh man, we could do that for a while.
No, honestly,
but on the real, Nasir Little, from what you described, because I haven't watched a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
What you described, that's basically what Caleb Martin is, and he's 4 years older. So it's not like that's a big gap. So I mean, is that really moving you? Like, is that moving you to hold on? Try to hold on to a player.
Nasir Little is 23, so that means he has more time to really his potential is less tapped compared to.
So what do you?
I feel like Caleb Martin.
What's his potential? Like best case scenario to you?
I don't think there's like a huge potential. I think he could just be a great, like a decent starter. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty much it. But I think Caleb Martin is also a decent starter. But I feel like you might be able to mold him into something that you want for your team. That's the only reason why I would say start Nasir Little over Caleb Martin.
It's a mid-off.
It's a mid-off, to be honest with you.
It's a mid-off regardless. So, I mean, you're not losing, the other thing is, right, if you don't get Caleb Martin, and you're not losing.
That's true. So if I want to go back to the
Dame situation,
the side of Dame going to the going to the Heat. I feel like who do you think would still be there on the Heat?
I think you would likely hold on to.
You think they won't take away Nikola Jovic?
Oh hell no! Don't. If I'm the Heat, this is the year where you need. This is the year where you start developing him. And I would not trade that man. I think Jovic has some potential. Not to be like his older brother Jokic, but I think Bam is better suited at the power forward spot.
Yep.
So I think if you can get Jovic to become, not to become, but if you can hone in on his rebounding skills, because he actually is really good at boxing out. It's just he's still weak. So if you can get him stronger and help him out on the rebounding aspect, he has solid passing skills. He's actually a pretty good shooter from what I saw in his summer league play last season. I think Jovic could be like that center that they need to move Bam to the power forward spot. And then if you make that Dame trade, and we're talking 2-3 years. Like 2-3 years, then I think we're on to something. If Dame maintains that level of play, Jimmy maintains that level of play, and Bam maintains that level of play. But that's asking a lot from a 33-year-old Dame
and a 34-year-old
34-year-old Jimmy.
Jimmy.
That's a lot. That's why I'm saying this Dame trade to Miami, to be honest with you, it really don't make that much sense. If you're asking me, and this goes back to the question I want to ask y'all. How would y'all feel about a Dame trade to Philly instead of to the Heat?
I've seen that. I've seen that one. Dame
will go to Philly to play alongside Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Portland
would get Tyrese Maxey. It would be a 3-team trade. Dame would go to Philly. Portland would get Tyrese Maxey, Day'Ron Sharpe, 3 first-round picks. And Brooklyn will be in on it, and they will put in Ben Simmons in exchange for Tobias Harris.
Where's Ben Simmons?
No, we don't want Ben Simmons back. Why would we get Ben Simmons back?
No.
Going to Portland?
No. He go to Portland.
Oh, he's going to Portland.
Okay. Portland would get Ben Simmons. Philly would only get Dame. That's the only person that they would need. So basically, what you would be doing is you would be pairing Dame alongside Harden and Joel Embiid. You would get off of that Tobias Harris contract.
The problem with that is Harden doesn't want to stay. So we would.
Yeah, he already said he doesn't want to stay.
We would have to trade
but think about the asset that James Harden is. So when it's time to trade him, which you ultimately would do, I agree.
Yeah.
you would be able to get a quality starting shooting guard or small forward or both. And then you have Paul Reed there, who I agree, I think he's a young talent who coming into next season getting more minutes under Nick Nurse, because I think Doc Rivers, he does not reward enough players who try hard. And Paul Reed tried hard. He may have.
They brought it back.
He may have been a foul.
The only thing I'm afraid of is losing Tyrese Maxey, and it's simply because of the fact that I'm kind of high on Tyrese Maxey.
I'm not high. Remember I asked that to y'all
over Harden.
So many people high on Tyrese Maxey.
I genuinely believe Harden right now. I think Tyrese Maxey can reach to the stage of Harden right now, if not a little bit more. I genuinely believe.
Okay, we gotta hold that. We gotta hold that part. Nope, we gotta hold that part. Nope, we gotta hold that. Hold that. Hold that. Nope, hold that. Nope, hold that. Hold that. Nope.
Is that
Z
flashes, but no enough.
Z. We can hold on to that.
He can be a great playmaker because when he attacks the rim, he doesn't always like spray.
Both of y'all shut up.
I can't really say that. What?
Z, I'm with you. Z, I feel you. But I need you to hold all that.
Like it's kind of a bias though, because I really like.
Not even listening.
That's no problem.
I feel like it's a bias.
Justin, shut up.
I genuinely believe that Tyrese Maxey can be I already
no.
Ooh, both of y'all.
I already think he could be.
Zeno, you don't.
He could be an All-NBA. I think he's peaking.
Zeno, you think Tyrese Maxey?
Stop! Don't ask that question. Don't ask that question. It's not his time. It's not the time yet. It's not that time yet. This is why I didn't want you to ask that question about Philly. Don't bring Philly in this conversation yet. Dang. We're gonna enter into the subject before we enter the subject.
Fine.
Golly, man.
Oh, man. All right. Anyway,
all the good stuff that you had, and it ain't time for it.
Yeah, but it was first of all, it was a good question.
It was a good question.
I'm with you. But it was a good question. I didn't want you to ask that question right now. You could have held that.
But y'all, pardon my friend Zeno, you got me fucked up. I'm gonna take my right? You got
losing Tyrese Maxey for Dame, and it can be really good if we are able to really build around it, and also moving that huge Tobias Harris contract is a big W because of the fact that it allows us to free up cap space, and I hope you know that has actually been the biggest Achilles heel for the Sixers, because with Tobias Harris taking that much money, we really couldn't actually look for like a good power forward. Although power forwards are really scarce in how good.
Yes, at this point, yeah. they had to overpay to get PJ Tucker over there, and although
we had to use our MLE for PJ.
Yeah,
like,
that's how scared PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker did not deserve that much money. He did not deserve that much money.
Yeah, so if
y'all basically gave him like a deal to buy his main shoes,
we need a small forward who could. Another thing I want to say, one of the things that I'm gonna be annoyed about is losing Jalen McDaniels. I don't know why they didn't re-sign him. That's another player, but because he could have been.
Wait, save that.
Oh shit! My bad.
Well, you good, man.
No, over there. We got one more. But anyway, long story short, I think we all agree. Dame asking out is a huge like relief for the NBA world, because we as an NBA family have been sitting here waiting for him to ask out, and actually finally go to a team that's gonna give us like something more, suspenseful in the title chase. Dame, wherever he goes, they're going to be better. Now, how much better is the question? But I think we all agree Dame is a star caliber player, and whatever team he goes to, they are going to become exponentially better, at the very least in the shooting category.
By far.
I heard this trade, right? Bear with me when I say this trade.
Okay.
I was watching a video about this, and this guy said a trade from OKC to get Dame. And the reason why they said that, right, is simply because going to Dame. Firstly, OKC has like a treasure chest worth of first round picks, so most likely they can definitely get Dame if they really wanted it. And then pairing Shea Dame with the rookie
Jalen Williams,
Jalen Williams, having him with also Chet, all of those players. And we're not saying that they're going to win a chip or anything like that. Giving these guys their first like taste of the playoffs, and for them to really understand how the playoffs is going to be, and how they're going to have to work in the playoffs. And it was essentially explaining to you that they can get experience earlier than they really could get. Because really and truly, right now, I think the OKC are peaking as like a top 10, like a 10th or 9th seed, and most likely they won't reach the playoffs, because I'm telling you, what the West right now is really strong. So I think the whole reason why he was saying that was essentially to give these young guys some experience before they actually start ascending as a real team. I think that's the main reason. But yeah,
I'm gonna put them up one. I'm gonna put them at least the 8th, because one, Utah shouldn't have been in the playoffs last year.
What? They were really decent at the start of the year.
At the start of the year. At the start. And I told you they were going to falter. Every good thing that happened will come to an end.
Wait. Rodney,
Utah.
Yeah.
Utah. I'm saying I'm putting the OKC up one. He said the 9th, 10th. I'm putting them at least to the 8th.
Yeah, but Utah wasn't in the play-in either. Utah wasn't in the play-in.
Yeah, the Utah was, I think, 12th or 13th.
Yeah, Utah had
dropped off.
After the All-Star break, they dropped off.
Oh, yeah. I knew they were gonna drop off.
Utah, was not in the play-in. They were below the Dallas Mavericks.
It was OKC, New Orleans,
10.
Oh, Grizzlies not making it. Grizzlies won't make it back.
New Orleans, Los Angeles, and
the Grizzlies. I'm gonna have to be honest with you. The Grizzlies are gonna make it. One of the biggest things about the Grizzlies that you need to understand, they may drop off in playmaking and scoring, but the fact that they now have Marcus Smart as their leading guard, while Trae Young is not there, the defense is going to take a skyrocket. I don't think you understand how they won.
All right, do y'all remember
when Ja Morant is off the court, their defense takes a huge jump, and then now you're putting in one of the best like guard point of attack defenders in Marcus Smart on that team, who can also play make. Yes, he's not going to be consistent as a scorer, but the fact that you're putting that around Desmond Bain,
you were successful.
What's called you're having your bigs come back as well. That defense is going to be
the Grizzlies were successful with inconsistent offensive and defensive output from Trey Jones. So now, not Trey Jones, Tyus Jones. So now you
was consistent scoring. It's just that Tyus Jones, I don't think like scoring output is nowhere near as high as Ja Morant's.
No. What I'm saying is, I disagree. I think his offensive output was inconsistent. I think
scoring-wise, specifically,
I think he was more
playmaking is very consistent.
Playmaking was very consistent, yes. But when I think for Marcus Smart, I think his playmaking is consistent, and I think defensively it's even more consistent. And I think we're really going to be looking at a return to the grit and grind era. And it's gonna be real interesting to see when Ja comes back from the suspension how good they're going to be. But going back to your trade scenario, if they went to OKC, OKC would have to put Josh Giddey in there.
Yep.
Josh Giddey would have to be the person to go, and that's going to make me sad because I'm high on Josh Giddey.
You're high?
I'm high on
him. He's high on Josh Giddey.
I'm high on Josh.
You're high on 6'9" Ben Simmons? Crazy.
I mean,
what did you? Don't bring up the fucking. He about to go play in Australia.
Hold on.
Don't bring him up no more.
Hold on.
Josh Giddey. It was 6'9" Ben Simmons.
Josh Giddey is not Ben Simmons because I think he's more. He actually is not scared to take the shot. I think the one critique that I'll put on Josh Giddey is he is too willing to. He's too willing to basically look for the best shot quality that he passes up on a slew of other shots that Shea does not hesitate on taking. Hell, even Jalen Williams did not hesitate on taking this past year. And so I think that the main thing that I need Josh Giddey to get under wraps is his shot selection, in the sense of usually, like when you see somebody like talk about shot selection, you're basically saying like, man, I want you to stop taking bad shots. No, I need Josh Giddey to start taking some bad shots because he's taking too many good quality shots. It's not like when you think about it in the NBA.
You mean you want him to be more aggressive, essentially. You want his sport aggression to go up.
Basically, like I want you to be aggressive and force the habit a little bit, because it's not that many good shots that's going to be formed in the NBA. You're going to have to take some tough shots. That's just the way the league works. Yep. And Josh Giddey has to understand that. But outside of that, I think Josh Giddey is a very, very good playmaker. I think defensively, he hasn't even scratched the surface on what he can be. He's very smart defensively. He does not have the athleticism to be able to block shots or anything like that, but he's very smart in the passing lanes, and he's very smart on predicting where the offensive player is going. So I think that he has a lot of advantages at 6'8" that other point guards will not have. I just need him to get his shot selection up a little more. And I think he's going to do that this season. But that being said, Dame getting traded to OKC, as much as I wouldn't like it, you cannot pass on a top 10 arguable player in the league.
I just want to say, Daryl, doesn't that not sound like 6'9" Ben Simmons with no defense?
No.
That's just
not.
It really does sound like that.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Both
I can't even compare the two.
Shoot for nothing.
Ben Simmons is not even in the league no more. I don't even know why we talk about it.
Because I said I need him to get his shot selection up a little more, and he's willing to take any shot. He's willing to take a three. He's willing to take a mid-range.
Oh yeah, I forgot to add in scoring aggression. Yeah,
Ben Simmons be looking at the rim and then throw it out outside.
Ben Simmons won't look at the rim. He'll look for the player that he's about to pass it to.
Hold on, Zeno. When he was in Philly with y'all, he could have dunked on Trey and he passed it up in game.
Yeah, I know. That's what I meant.
So how you gonna compare the two?
Why are we talking?
How are you comparing the two? I'm so confused.
Why are you feeding him facts? Like, stop telling him that. Because you're leaning into what he's saying. What are we
doing? Facts. You already knew what I'm talking about, man.
Hey, stop.
Hey, thank you, man.
What are we doing? No, he's not Ben Simmons, because he's actually willing to take those shots. It's just it has to be the best shot he's going to get. Like if you notice, I don't know if you watched a lot of OKC games. I did, because I'm a former OKC fan. But I still check in on him from time to time. A lot of the problems that OKC's offense had is because you're running through Shea, who I think really quickly this season people are going to find out the flaw with Shea is he holds onto the ball entirely too much. When it comes to Josh Giddey is looking for the best pass, the best shot, and all of that stuff, and you only got 24 seconds on the shot clock. So by the time he actually finds that shot or whatnot, there's about 4 seconds left on the clock, and he got to get to that spot now. So that's the main problem with him. Ben Simmons' problem was that he was not willing to take any shot.
And he was only willing to force the.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, I was just saying it for the most part to troll, but yeah, I understood where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Oh, you
want to know what's funny? Your troll slowly started to become a small hint of like doubt in my head, because Daryl said dumb shit there. Daryl when Daryl said that, I was like, bro, he just gave you fuel to the fire. Now you gonna make
Justin's mind went, is that right?
You,
That might be
Rodney
All I
has
know is
told you before.
you're hiring mini Ben Simmons, man. That's good to know.
But
yeah.
I don't even know why we bring. I don't want to
you're-
bring up Ben Simmons no more. Stop talking about that dude.
You're
Giving him too much clout right now.
Talking about Ben Simmons.
James Harden. Okay.
Wait, I'm not gonna lie to you. I couldn't hear you. There was two other people talking mid-time.
I said, and you're high on mini hamstring riddled James Harden. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Who's that? Is that Tyrese Maxey?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's nasty work.
Oh,
that's nasty work. Oh wow.
Oh wow.
All right. So, let's move on to the next discussion before that happens.
This might be a quick
mid-season
one.
tournament. Mid-season tournament, y'all. So let's see some of the stuff we got with mid-season tournament. Starting in November 3rd, there's going to be a small championship that will end December 9th. Something the NBA has decided to add on that's going to be new, where you'll have players doing group plays from about the 3rd to the 28th of November to the knockout rounds. And right now, the NBA actually has put in all the groups. Right here in the West, we got Memphis, the Suns, Lakers, Utah, and Portland. In one pool, we got the Nuggets, Clippers, Pelicans, Mavs, and Rockets in another pool. And then our last pool in the West is the Kings, Warriors, Timberwolves, Thunder, and the Spurs. So right now, if y'all want to, we can talk about the tournament and focus what's going on in the West right now with the three pools they got.
Yeah, I'll show the in-season tournament rules, format, and how it's gonna work and stuff too. While you guys are talking.
Yeah. Essentially, all I know of is the fact that the winners get 500,000. And I'm not gonna lie to you, a lot of teams is just gonna be like, "What is this shit? I ain't doing anything. Let us lose in the first round and let's keep it moving." I'm gonna be honest.
That's not necessarily true. That is not necessarily true.
This
is why I tell you this, because this still counts against your 82 game regular season.
Okay.
So they are not going to take this off.
Fair enough.
You can't take it off.
Because I was hearing something about like the winners are gonna play 84 games instead of 82. That's what I was especially thinking. I guess that they're not gonna take the day off, but I don't think they're going to put any extra effort in because it's a season, is like a tournament or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, there's no prestige to it. Like I remember people were talking about how how is it in football, right? Because football has the FA Cup, which is like mid-season tournament. But football, the reason why people still players still play well in those things in that situation is because it has prestige to it. It's been playing FA Cup has been for so long. And now
all of our American people, he's talking about soccer, not football, Americano.
Yeah, soccer.
So Rodney, I think they got it.
But he said it, and I was thinking, I'm like, what is he talking about? But yeah,
it has the prestige, and that's why they actually try.
We all are Americans, except for you.
So that's what I'm really not sure about, because I genuinely don't believe if people are actually going to put the effort and time into it.
I think they will, because it still counts against your regular season record. So if you decide that, hey, I'm going to take this off, but you're already still playing 5 games, those 5 games against those guys in your conference or in your your division, that still hurts you. So you just can't just take that off.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you, they're not going to change. They're not going to put up the intensity, right, compared to a regular season, to another regular season game that has nothing to do with the mid-season tournament. Because 500, to these stars, 500,000 does not mean anything to them.
Oh, so you're saying because of the meaning, because of the money meaning?
Yes,
you're right. It needs to be a little bit more. You need not for money.
I feel like there should be like if you win this mid-season tournament, if you're reaching the playoffs, that means you get you get home court for the whole round, so something like that. Those types.
See, I just no. Before you start. So the reason why I don't like that is because what if one of these teams that are at the bottom manage to win that and still don't make the playoffs? Now it's wasted.
Well, Zeno, let me go ahead and let me answer that for him. So you're absolutely right if that's just as simple as that. So what about this? Instead of us looking for it as basic as why don't they secure them a spot in the playoffs, right? Even though they would lose, let's say they lost like 15 plus games or something. What if you winning the midseason tournament guaranteed you a certain amount of wins? You got a certain amount of wins added to the column. Right, so
you're adding more wins.
It would give you a leg up.
Essentially,
yes, it would give you a leg up on. Let's say you were battling for let's say the seventh.
Wait. Do you think?
Let's say you were battling for the eighth seed with who's the eighth seed this year? With let's say
Miami was the eighth seed.
Miami. Well, let's say Miami. Yeah, let's say you were battling. Let's say Atlanta was battling for the eighth seed with Miami, right? And they won the midseason tournament. They would get, let's say, 2 to 3 game extra wins added. So when it came time to the end of the season, those 2 to 3 games could be the game breaker that puts them over the edge and gets them into that eighth seed and pushes.
Karen, and then
I think I meant to say 6 or 7.
No.
See, but it makes it sound weird because you're adding games that there aren't. So basically, you're adding on games that they've never played. Is that what we're saying?
No, you would add those games, and those would be games that they didn't have to play at the end of the season.
I was going to say you could have done it in a sense that, like, if you two are battling the 8th seed, or let's say battling the 10th seed, because this is a better way. If you two have the same record, the person that won the tournament automatically takes your spot and you reach the 10th seed. Essentially meaning if you have tiebreakers where you're tied 8th seed, the person that won the tournament or was closer to winning the tournament takes priority. That's what I think would have been better than what you said.
Okay, I get you. So let's just put it like this. Let's say Philly and Milwaukee are tied for first place.
Yes.
And Philly actually won the midseason tournament.
Yes.
They go over Milwaukee because they won the tournament.
Exactly, or they were closer to winning the tournament. Yeah, they get 1 seed.
No. I don't think it should go for second for if you were in the midseason tournament and you got both of y'all got knocked out in the semifinals, but
they don't. And
count. If that's the case, if you both get knocked out in the second semifinals, cancel it. You don't.
No, I'm sorry. Not to say. Okay, let's say like because with that theory, just because the 76ers got to the semifinals and Milwaukee lost in the first round, that shouldn't be like both of y'all lost. Like you didn't.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm
talking to Zeno.
I feel like
I don't think they should be awarded. I don't think they should be awarded
something that would force teams to actually care about that. Though that's the thing.
But if you got to go that deep, then that should tell you how much this midseason tournament is going to mean to them. Period.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
But I don't think that's the case. I'm talking about whoever wins. Whoever wins midseason tournament gets that advantage over whoever they're trying to battle for that spot. So he's saying like the 10th spot. We battling for the 10th spot. But I won the midseason tournament. I just so happened to have an injury on one of my star players.
So wait,
ended up getting tied for the 10th.
What about
hold on? Listen. This is what I feel like they should really do. So if we're gonna let's act like whoever the Hawks, all right, they win the midseason tournament, but they're tied with somebody in the regular season. Honestly, that midseason tournament shouldn't even matter. I feel like whoever won between both of those teams in the regular season, who won the record, gets that spot.
I think that's already how it is, anyways.
Yeah,
that is already how it is. We're just talking about the midseason tournament and how it can mean more than what it just means.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're trying to give it more merit than just money because be real.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone here believes that 500,000.
See, if they would have came out with the midseason tournament back in the early 2000s, I think that you have some action because people weren't getting paid that high. outside of like the creme de la creme, like the Kobe's, the Bronze, and so on and so forth. They weren't getting paid that much money, so they would actually be excited for that because that's some cash prize that I could. Then that could pad my pockets a little more.
Exactly.
In this day and age, with the economy that the NBA has, and especially in a couple years, once this new TV deal comes in, they're gonna be making so much money. This petty $1 million victory ain't gonna mean nothing.
Is it $1 million?
It's 500,000 for the winner.
That's not even that don't even make 500,000 for the whole team.
$250 for the third place.
Exactly. No, for real. Yeah, actually, right, Daryl. That's minimum wage for them at that point. So like they don't care about that at this point. So how do y'all feel about this?
Wage player.
What about a proverbial token that basically like do y'all remember? I don't know if y'all remember in 2015, OKC and New Orleans were battling for the AC. And it came down to a game breaker that Anthony Davis It came down to a game breaker that was decided on New Orleans' favor because of a game winner that Anthony Davis hit in like earlier in the year. That token, like the winning the midseason tournament, should be like a token for you to get that edge up on them. So I agree with you from that standpoint. If they just did a token that's basically like. Whatever placement you're at, right? So like we saw in the Western Conference, there was a lot of players that were like jam-packed with wins. You get that token can trump you over another player if you can get close enough. Like if y'all got like the game, like it's like a wins tied, like y'all both have like 48 wins or 49 wins or something like that. That token takes you over them.
That's what I was saying.
I have a question for you guys. Do you think this would be good? Wait, I want this be good.
Okay.
Let's say, right, you reach the 8th or 7th seed, right, and you get that token, you win the play tournament.
I like that, but then it becomes useless to the other teams that know they're not going to be a playing team. I mean,
I was gonna say, what if you reach the 7th or 8th seed and you get a token? That means you stay as the 7th or 8th seed, and like for example, if you're the 8th seed. The only thing that can happen to you is that you can move up to the 7th seed, but you won't lose your playoff spot.
So then in that sense, you want to know what I think will probably happen if that was like the rule set. You would only see teams like Charlotte, Atlanta, Chicago, Toronto play.
To be fair with you, I'll be real with you. The top teams are never going to care about this mid-season tournament.
And that's the problem with this tournament format.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The top teams are not going to care about this format, and I think this format should really be for the mid.
Yes,
right.
Yes,
and for that to happen, if you win that tournament, that means you're definitely going to be in the playoffs, no matter what.
See, but I don't like how that sounds because you can't say no matter what. You can't do that because you don't know what's going to happen during the year.
Why?
You never know. As we saw last year, beginning of the year, Utah was on fire.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They were considered a top team. They was gonna make the playoffs. They didn't. They traded everybody away and they gave up.
I'm trying to understand where you're coming from, but
because okay.
Keep going. We're listening.
Let's just say Denver, a top team, ends up getting an injury on Jokic. Or Murray, and they faltered. But they won that midseason tournament.
Okay.
I was actually going to suggest something totally different than giving somebody just a position. Let's say, because there's teams that just get hot for no reason. Chicago was hot 2 years ago, and then last year they was just god awful.
It wasn't hot for no reason. I can tell you the reason why they were hot.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, but I'm still lost on what you're saying.
Hold on, let me. I'm trying to get there. So, let's just say one of these bottom tier teams, who we don't know who it is. It could be LA. It could be any team. Wins that midseason tournament.
Yep.
But they don't make playoffs, or they don't make play-in.
Mm-hmm. I know where you're gonna
go. That token.
That's what I was gonna say.
Gives you number one pick.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking.
I don't know what you were thinking.
I genuinely believe that. I don't know,
because now you can't just bomb out for no reason. You just can't bomb.
Punishes young. Nah, I don't know if I don't know.
That doesn't punish anybody.
It does. It punishes the genuinely terrible teams because they're young. It punishes them. Like the Rockets. The Rockets weren't trying to tank horribly. They're just bad.
But Detroit did do that for years and years and years, and we were tired of looking at it.
The what's it called? What was the other team? The
Detroit Pistons.
The Pistons weren't trying to tank here. They were just bad.
No, they were tanking,
beating up on these teams for no reason.
They were definitely tanking though.
What year are we referring to?
It was Daryl.
Any Detroit year that didn't have another number one. We're looking at a number one pick. So you want to go with?
But this year they weren't trying to tank. They were just playing the young players.
Like this year you're right. They weren't trying to tank. They were playing young years.
Playing the young players.
They were trying to win games. They had a coach that they believed in, and they were trying to do stuff. But years prior to that, they was just tanking.
I don't even think they were
years after AI. At some point, they started tanking.
No. I got you. Because I did some history on Detroit before that became my young team that I'm rooting for. Which, by the way, Kay Cunningham up next. Anyway, Detroit was they weren't tanking.
Exactly. I know that for a fact because I was watching.
Because remember the roster that they put out year in year out from 2011 all the way up to like 2014. You're talking about a starting lineup that had Brandon Jennings, Rodney Stuckey. I forget who the small forward was for them. What's this nigga name?
Was it Villanueva on that team?
Max something. I forget. Maxwell. Rod something Maxwell, and Andre Drummond. That is not a team that screams out playoff opportunity to me. So like, I don't, Rodney, like that team in Detroit for years was ass.
I remember this vividly. This is the year that C. Wood was with them. And the reason why I was watching it was because this was the year that Derrick Rose was on that team. I don't know. I think he just got traded from
2018.
Yeah, he got traded away from the Timberwolves to the Detroit Pistons. And I remember watching that.
No, that's 2019. I'm sorry.
2019, yeah. Because I was watching that specifically for Derrick Rose. They weren't tanking. They were just ass.
It was bad.
They lost out because the year before that was the year that what's his name? Blake Griffin had his best career season. Like they were just bad. They were just genuinely bad because Blake Griffin just played only 18 games and he was not himself. Drummond was their starting center and he was just not great defensively and he was just a rebound merchant. C. Wood was essentially trying to carry the load scoring wise. And Luke Kennard was showing flashes of he was already a great 3-point shooter, but he's showing flashes of like on-ball playmaking and stuff like that. Like that was what was happening in Brooklyn,
Rodney, you tell me if this sounds like a promising team. We have the starting lineup of Rodney Stuckey, a 31-year-old Tracy McGrady who had just dealt with a second knee injury that got him traded from the Rockets to the Detroit Pistons. You had Richard Hamilton as your small forward. Your power forward was Jason Maxwell. That's his name. And your center wasn't even Andre Drummond. It was Greg Monroe.
Does that
sound like a promising young group to you?
No.
Okay. So and then the next year it got even worse because they switched out Jason Maxwell, who was giving you 15, with Jonas Jerebko. With Jonas Jerebko, who gave you 6 points. Gave you 6 points. Yeah, no, that Detroit team was bad. They were a bad friend. They've been a bad franchise, bad lineups, bad coaches. This is what it is. They couldn't tank even if they wanted to because they wouldn't even do that competently. No. But this neither here nor there. Go Cade Cunningham. Yeah.
Stop it. My man
Please,
been on Cade Cunningham all year.
Oh man. Cade Cunningham and Cam Reddish all day, bro. It's the two C's.
Shoot, he want to go Cunningham. Let's go Hayes.
My bad. It wasn't Detroit. It was Philly. My bad. It was
1, 2, 3 overseas.
So, Ben Simmons,
right overseas.
Yeah,
Ben
right
Simmons?
overseas. Boy, sitting there.
Ben Simmons.
No. Oh wow.
All right, so that was the mid-season tournament that we broke down somewhat.
It's time for Rod.
Let's get to it, man.
Oh, let's get it.
All right, guys.
This your segment,
put your hands
man.
together, man. I need some fire, man. We've been doing this for a long.
Yo,
relax. Let me bring the fire for you, my boy.
Hold on. I got you, baby.
All right, let's get it.
Hold up. I got you.
All right. What's going on, y'all? So this is our final segment of the night. This is something we've been doing for a long time, and we wanted to bring everybody in to bring that fire, to bring that heat, because at this point in time in the year, this is when everything comes out. You know, all the trades, all the free agents, the rookies show up and show us what they can actually do to actually help and benefit this team. But we want to talk about this and break it down a little bit further for y'all. It's the off season, and what's better than off season, really? Other than the playoffs, really. So we're gonna talk about tonight, starting out with the 76ers and how and what they're going to be doing for the next couple years. They need to make some trades, and they need to bring some people up from somewhere, and God knows where. Don't bring back Ben Simmons, please don't.
Please don't.
Please don't. Don't do that.
Good Lord,
but hey, shout out my boy Rod.
Shout out
my boy Rodney, man. That was magical right there. Did y'all feel that? I got goosebumps.
Oh,
we gotta have fire, man. We gotta have that fire. And it's
the fire right there.
It's that off season, man. It's that off season.
Yeah.
It's a good time of year. It's that love time of year. Before we start hating each other. Before we start talking all that mess about LA being so old.
Oh wow.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
One ankle away. We one ankle away. We one ankle away from never going nowhere.
Says the person who's like, the Hawks never had a superstar, so that's why we can't win.
We haven't had a superstar.
He lied on that too.
Hey. Respect, my boy in the 80s, 90s. What's his
like
name
we
again?
gonna act like
Dominique Wilkins?
Superstar.
Respect.
And still didn't go to where we needed to go, right?
Hey, that's not Dominique. Tell your Hawks front office to get him some help. How about that?
Actually, I was just hoping that when we had all those stars that made it to the All-Star game, they would have thought about, we gotta need somebody to be a scorer. I said stars. They're just stars. Stars are under All-Stars.
I hope you're not talking about 2016 Hawks.
They're just stars. They're not. Are
you talking about 2016 Hawks?
Yeah, the ones that got beat by Cleveland up and down the court. They're just stars. They're just stars.
Not all stars.
I didn't say they were all stars. Did you not hear me? Hold on, my man. I know you sleepy. But I never said they were all stars. I said they were stars that made the All-Star game. That is all I said.
Hey, respect to Cliff Hagan.
Wait, if you're stars above all stars or below?
So there are superstars, and then there's somewhere where LeBron is, somewhere above them.
Maybe you just bitter because LeBron came there and whooped y'all in the playoffs the year that was supposed to be y'all year when y'all was the number 1 seed.
Wait,
first off, I knew he. First off. Let me hip you to something. I knew we wasn't winning that because we had nobody to just score by themselves. They had no all-star. You not hear me say that? This is my team.
Okay. Zeno.
Okay. Hold on, Justin, before you say something. So let's talk about one team here, the Spurs. never really had a superstar other than Tim Duncan. That was supposed to be their superstar. Tony Parker was not supposed to be a star. No one expected him. Nobody expected Ginobili to be a star. And how many rings did they come up with? So what's the excuse?
Four between.
What's the excuse?
3 out of those rings was because of Tim Duncan's brilliance. 2 of those rings.
Oh man, my bad. That's an all-star. My bad.
Who's an all-star?
Honestly, actually, Tim Duncan's a little bit higher than an all-star. I'm just gonna.
But that's
Tim
did you
Duncan's
not hear what I said?
It's like a top 10 player.
We don't have a Tim Duncan type of player on the team.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. For me,
Tim Duncan, we didn't have a Tim Duncan on the team.
Exactly.
Who could you compare on Atlanta that year that was even close to Tim Duncan?
And I guess
No.
Justin, please hit him. Justin, please.
Come on, tell me who you saw on Atlanta's team that was close to a Tim Duncan.
Oh no, I don't give a damn about that. You said Tim Duncan was slightly over an all-star, and I got a problem with that.
No, he didn't.
We're talking about something else.
No. He was being sarcastic.
Yeah, he better. Because I don't play by mine. I don't play by mine.
All right, y'all. Let's get back on track. Philadelphia.
Hey, he's just an all-star. I'm talking all kinds of trash now.
I do want to say there's a few players that I'm really interested in. If we keep Tyrese Maxey, his ascension is one thing I'm very curious about. I want to know what he's going to be working on. If he's going to work on his shot creation, if that's the part that he's going to be working on to become a better shot creator, meaning that he's going to actually be able to close games instead of relying on Embiid or possibly Harden if he stays. If he works on his playmaking, which means that he's able to be more of an on-ball guard and actually setting up for his teammates to be, in open spaces to catch and shoot and, create for them. For the player that I have my most focus on is Paul Reed. Yes, you guys can tell as on my PFP that Paul Reed is like my favorite Philly player. But if I'm going to be taking my fan hat off, I genuinely believe that Paul Reed can play meaningful minutes because of the fact that Paul Reed is a 6'9" power forward / center. He is actually quite athletic, so he's actually decent in the pick and roll, rolling to the rim, finishing around traffic. And I feel like with the off season and play with Nick Nurse, which is known as one of the best defensive coaches in the league, he's going to be able to hone in on one of his biggest weaknesses defensively, which is his fouling. Paul Reed is a habitual fouler; like he fouls a lot. But I feel like that's more because of the fact that he's afraid of doing something wrong, that it will become a problem. So he tries too hard. And the fact that he's going to be fine because of the fact that the new coach is going to instill that confidence in him. And I do believe he's going to instill that confidence in him because that is one of the best defensive coaches we have in the league. I feel like he's going to be able to use Paul Reed's strengths a lot. The fact that Paul Reed is really strong, so he can really hang with the fours. The fact that he's very switchable, so he can guard threes as well. He's quick on his feet, so he can slide his feet against like drive the slashing type small forwards that we see in the league. I'm not gonna sit here and say he can guard 1s and 2s. I generally don't know if he can guard 1s and 2s because he's never really been put onto those two and say, okay, guard them. But I genuinely believe defensively, he has a huge upside defensively. And I feel like he's going to be tapped in this year. Offensively, mainly he's going to be playing like kind of like a big in the sense that like you can just put him in PNR, tell him to, roll to the rim and he's going to catch lobs. He has some type of like post moves, but I don't know. I'm not thinking much of it right now. And that he's been taking threes, but I'm not really sure about what that's going to do for us as well. I'm not necessarily sure. If he does become a threat from three, he would actually be able to play alongside Embiid, which would mean so much more because having a great defender next to Embiid is going to help him so much defensively. When last year, like outside of PJ Tucker, Embiid was literally having to hold down like a top 10 defense by himself.
I have two questions for you.
On the side.
This is your team. Philly is your team. I got two questions for you. Question number one. Why is Mo Bamba here?
That I don't know why. I thought what they were going to do, right, was they was going to remove all the bigs, right, and have Paul Reed take all the minutes so that he gets as much minutes as he can. He could keep making mistakes and all of that stuff, but he's going to understand and grow into the defender that we need. I think, and don't quote me on this, they're gonna have Mo Bamba, because they're gonna work on him defensively, because he's gonna be playing with another, like I told you, a defensive coach. He's gonna work on him being a good rim protector and also spacing the floor when Embiid is off the court, and maybe play some minutes where him and Paul Reed are going to be in the lineup with each other. So you're gonna have him spacing the floor, and Paul Reed essentially playing like the traditional five on offense, and then on defense he's gonna be the traditional five, and then Paul Reed is gonna be on the perimeter trying to defend it and play help side. I think that's what they're trying to do. If I don't know if you're gonna ask this question, I do want to say this. Why the hell do they have Montrezl Harrell? I do not know. I will never understand why they just love taking Montrezl Harrell and putting it on our team. I never understood it, and I will never understand it.
Y'all confused on Montrezl Harrell, but that wasn't my question, because I understand why Montrezl Harrell is there. Because if Mo Bamba can't do what you need him to do while Joel Embiid is out, Montrezl can.
So then,
no, he can't.
Yes, he can. He literally did it when he was in Washington.
No, I'm telling you what we need.
He did not.
Rim protection when Embiid is off the court.
Whoa,
Daryl, didn't Montrezl Harrell put up numbers in Washington?
Double doubles.
It's easy to put balling in Washington.
Team is as trash as the Washington Wizards were.
He was the only bright side of that team. That's why they were able to trade him.
And what was he doing defensively?
I'm trying to explain to you something.
He was blocking shots.
Offense. We had him 2 seasons ago or a season ago. Exactly. We know what Montrezl Harrell can bring to the game offensively. But what we need when Embiid is off the court is rim protection. Montrezl Harrell cannot bring rim protection. So what is the point of him on this team?
He actually can. It's okay that you don't. It's okay that y'all haven't seen it. I get it.
Wow.
I get it.
Mean?
I get it that y'all hadn't seen it. It's fine.
I don't know how to explain this.
I didn't really say his offense is good, but he actually can play defense.
He's an underrated
defender. Zeno, let him get it off. Zeno.
Hey, Zeno, fuck, bump all that. Is Matt McClung on this team as a show for the dunk contest, or y'all gonna actually put him in the game for something?
Hey, I don't know either, man. I think I would at least want to see him get some run to see what he can actually do on the NBA.
I know what he can do. Nothing. We already know he can do nothing.
Yeah, he just seems like he's a very fast guard that can play make, but not like to an NBA level. I don't know what he can really do. I'm just curious.
I don't think he could do anything at an elite level. Well, not elite level, but at a good enough level to like reason him being on the floor. He's too small to be he's too small to be able to defend.
Is he 5'11" or 6?
He's 6'2".
I was gonna say him and Maxey about the same height.
But Maxey gives you the shooting that's elite enough to reason why you would keep him on the floor. And he plays the passing lanes well. Like
very well.
Yeah, McClung doesn't actually move unless he has the ball in his hand to go.
Yeah, McClung is very
he's stationary.
Yeah, he's very stationary when he doesn't have the ball, when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. So I really don't see much reason. But I want to go back to this Montrezl Harrell point that you made, Rod.
Go ahead.
The problem that I'm having when we're talking about like bench centers in the game today, a lot of people think that the bench role players in the center spot are supposed to give you a jolt on the offensive side, and that couldn't be far from the case.
Exactly.
In this day and age, in this NBA, because of how elite the talent is now, the last thing you need is more offensive of more offensive energy coming from the center spot when you already have the second best center in the league. You need a player that's going to be at the very least be able to give just it's half to 75% of the defensive value that a Joel Embiid brings if you're Philadelphia 76ers. So no, Montrezl Harrell brings none of that.
Nothing.
To be honest with you, I've been wondering if they could be able to get off of that contract since they signed it, because I knew it wasn't going to work. That Montrezl Harrell signing to me seems like it was just a filler because they needed to sign somebody, and it sounded right. For the same reason the Lakers signed him a couple years back. Y'all remember when the Lakers signed Montrezl Harrell? Did it make sense to y'all?
Yeah, I remember we did.
Did it make sense to y'all why they signed him? Outside of we just want to get you away from the Clippers? Did it make sense to y'all? It did make sense to me. I know he won a 6th Man of the Year, but he did not have a good playmate. He did not have a good playoff run with the Clippers, in large part due to what we're talking about right now with how bad he was defensively. Doc Rivers could not play him in really any of those series because when you went up against Dallas, Luka torched them. When you went up against the Nuggets, Jamal Murray torched them in pick and roll sets. Over and over again, routinely, it was happening. And then he goes to Washington, which, yes, he can put up offensive numbers all he wants to. But defensively, it is not a fact. That is a lie, actually, what you said, where he was blocking shots all over the place. The man was literally getting ran past by players that, like, you went up against what's my guy that played Thomas Bryant for the Lakers this past season. They were getting their shit swatted. You went up against Montrezl Harrell. Montrezl Harrell at 6'7" was literally standing there and just putting his hands up. That's the best he could do.
I want to add on to that. The problem is, like, when you are not a, okay, let me explain this. I want to say this in the most calm way. As a center, you are the most important defensive piece on a team. If you cannot rim protect, if you can't help shot block, if you cannot go up on the pick and roll and hedge to lessen the ability to attack you on the defensive end, if you cannot do anything of these at a decent level, I'm not even saying a good level, decent level, you are bleeding so much value. So you have to be great on the offensive end to warrant time on that court. The reason why Jokic can actually work on the offensive end is because he's one of the greatest playmakers of all time. He's one of the greatest scorers that we've seen. He gives you so much value on the offensive end while not bleeding the amount of value bleeding as much value as you think he does, because he's actually decent. He's decent as long as he's not protecting the rim, because he actually comes up under the screen and hedge. He's actually very not mobile, but he constantly moves on when it comes to the defensive end of the court.
Which is why I never understand why people say when it comes to Jokic that he does nothing defensively. It's like he's literally in every action.
It's because of how slow and bulky it looks like. That's why. Mm-hmm. But he's able to like lessen the bleed of his value because of how great his offense is. When you are a big, if you're going to do post, if you're going to be a post big, you have to be great as a post big to actually warrant your team to actually build around that play. That's why if you sit down and think about it, how many bigs post up? It's only Embiid, Jokic, AD, Kristaps, maybe.
Kristaps only got it because he was playing for Washington and they had nobody else to give him.
And Domantas Sabonis and Valanciunas, and even people still think Valanciunas should even have post up.
Washington had 2 post players, but Gafford.
Who's the second one?
Ew.
No. You were better off saying Montrezl Harrell.
No, and back to
don't do that.
And again, Rodney, when you said that he was blocking shots, the nigga for Washington averaged 0.7 blocks. Did you know that Bradley Beal averaged more blocks that year than him.
He also wasn't there the whole year. 46 games.
He got sent to Charlotte. I figured
because why? Why? Because he was playing well.
No, and he got sent to Charlotte. And you want to know what happened there?
They honestly didn't use him.
Terry Rozier had the same amount of blocks as him. So again,
because they didn't even use him.
Not a good rim protector. And because he's not a good rim protector, there's not quality minutes that he could find on Philly behind Joel Embiid.
It would have even been better if he was like a force floor spacer as a 5. Because then you could provide, then you could slide him to the 4 and he can provide what's called floor spacing.
But he shoots.
He doesn't feel like that.
You can't even do that for him.
Exactly. When you're not that great on one side of the court, you need to be good on the other side.
You need to be
for the
great.
team to willing to put you on the court.
Especially
in playoff times.
Those guys aren't. Sorry, anybody that's coming off the bench is not going to be great on one side or the other. They're going to be decent. Not a lot of players are going to come off the bench and be great.
For the competent rosters that we are talking about, which are the Milwaukee Bucks, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Miami Heat. Yes, if you're competing for championships, your bench needs to be. If they're bad at one side, they need to be great at the other.
On the other thing. For example, Duncan Robinson is bad defensively,
but he's a great shooter.
Great shooter. D'Anthony Melton is not. He's not the greatest offensively, but he's a great defender. That's why you would give him minutes.
Iber was terrible offensively, but he's
a great point of attack defender.
Yes.
Guard defender. So
good.
You can be bad on one side of the court as long as you give enough value on the other side. But it depends on how great you are on the other side. And Montrezl Harrell is not great enough. He's just not great enough
on either.
Exactly.
But you don't need somebody who's coming off the bench to be great like that.
Yeah,
he's coming off the bench. He's going to be competent on one side of the ball, and he's okay or bad on the other.
But that would equal a mid bench would be the explanation.
First off, Philly already has a mid bench to no bench,
and that's why we don't consider Philly to truly be a title contender.
Oh no, you and Daryl probably don't, but Z over here do.
Well,
I do understand. I always think that they're just like a little tier below.
Exactly. Like every time I think of Philly, and to be honest with you, Zeno, I had Philly. Rodney can testify. I had the Philadelphia 76ers going to the finals this year because I believe that the tandem of James Harden and Philly, James Harden and Joel Embiid, along with Tobias Harris with the way he was playing, going into the playoffs, and Tyrese Maxey, just having that third scoring role, I thought that was enough that they could be able to beat a Boston Celtics team that was truly on the rails, walking in like they were stumbling into the playoffs.
Uh-huh.
I thought that they could beat
in the playoffs.
And once I saw that Milwaukee was out, I was like, hell yeah, they could win. Because I thought that they were better than Miami. I thought that they were better than Boston. I thought that they were better than the Knicks. I thought they were better than Cleveland. I thought that they really, to tell you the truth, I thought that they should have relatively a cakewalk as long as everybody did what they did what they were supposed to do.
Until Embiid got injured in the
but even if Joel Embiid didn't get hurt, main Achilles heel for Philly is what happens when Embiid and Harden come off the bench. Goes to the bench. The rim protection was relatively non-existent. You already testified to it. Paul Reed was a foul machine, and if he wasn't fouling, then they were basically getting to the rim.
If you watched game one, I'll be real with you. I'll be 100% honest with you. I still to this day cannot get a satisfactory answer to how we won that game.
Exactly.
To this day, because you know why? Every time I would watch Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum answer on someone, and they would be attacking the rim. They'll beat that player, and for some reason they would stop and take a mid-ranger. And I was always confused. Why don't they attack the rim? Paul Reed is not a good. He can't rim protect. Just go up. The way we won that was because they decided they didn't want to attack the rim. That's the only reason why we won that.
And to be well, not to be fair, but and to further go along with like your testament, Boston Celtics. That's always been their main problem. They don't take what the defense gives them. They force what they want to force.
Yep.
So that's the main reason why I don't have Jason Tatum that high in my top 10. That's the main reason that Jaylen Brown isn't so high on my list, because they go against the grain on what's given to them, which is really, to tell you the truth, what's given to them is simple layups. They should average like at least like 20 of their points off of layups. But
I think the ability to force your own shot and make the defense play on you can actually be done if you're that good. If you're that good at doing it, but the problem is Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown aren't that good. Because, for example, in the playoffs, we watched Devin Booker literally will his way into his spots and forcing the teams to double team him or single team or even triple team him into those spots, and he was still making them. So when you have that much, if you're that great to get into those spots and finishing over players, then yes, I believe you can do those type of stuff. But when you aren't good enough to do those things and you still force it, then you're gonna have problems.
Let me propose a trade for y'all to see if we can help Philly out real quick.
Yeah.
All right, 3-team trade.
Okay.
Philly, Toronto, OKC.
I like this trade.
Siakam, right?
Philly gets Siakam and Lou Dort.
Ooh.
Toronto Raptors will receive Tobias Harris, Anthony Milton, and a future first-round pick.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. OKC gets Chris Bouchard, Korkmaz, and a first-round pick.
Does that help Philly move up? I'm telling you right now. If Philly was to get a quality defenders in Pascal Siakam and Lou Dort, and also getting a top 20 player in Pascal Siakam in that trade, we're talking about the title favorites.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how in that trade that Tyrese Maxey and James Harden doesn't get moved.
Are not brought into that.
But if they don't get moved and we get that, I'm telling you this now, we are the title favorites. Because looking at the team,
because you still have Tobias Harris too.
Exactly. Look at the team now.
No. Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris was gone.
Tobias Harris in Toronto.
Okay, so then you will probably need the 3.
Tyrese Maxey at the 1, James Harden at the 2. You need to find your small forward. Pascal at the 4, and you can slide in PJ at the 3. And
Lou Dort at the 3.
No.
We don't need 3 now. One, Lou Dort is called off ball is kind of suspect, and on ball, yeah, we can take him on ball, but the problem is with Lou Dort, he's just too small. I wouldn't want him.
Lou Dort reminds me a lot of what Matisse Thybulle was. He's a little more aggressive as a point of attack defender. I think Thybulle was more reactive. Lou Dort looks to force you to make mistakes on ball. Yeah. And so I like Lou Dort, but not enough to justify making him the starting small forward.
And also, he's just too small. That's the main problem I have with him.
He's the same height as Harden.
Oh, is he 6'6"?
He's 6'5".
Then I would be fine with him being small forward. I thought he was like 6'4", 6'3".
Oh no, he's 6'5".
Yeah, he's 6'5".
I think he can play up. He can play up a position. I think he can. But the problem is, I think we probably need a better starter small forward still.
Yeah, but you want to know what's beautiful, especially in this market. And I actually have a small forward that I was thinking of saying, I have a small forward that I was thinking of saying you guys should trade for. Small forwards are really not that hard to find if you think about it, and they're even easier in this economy to trade for because there's so many of them that are on reasonable contracts. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make mine quick, right? So I did my homework or whatnot. So as far as the Philadelphia 76ers go, they this offseason, the only things that they really did as far as signings go, they signed Patrick Beverley, which makes sense. They did need defense in the backcourt.
Yep.
They signed Mo Bamba. I'm with you guys. I don't really like the signing, but if their plan is to pair him alongside Paul Reed so that both of them can develop on the same timing, I guess that's fine. But I'm sort of out on Mo Bamba, so. Yeah. And then they signed Taquavion Smith and Ricky Council, the 4 to 2-way contracts. Don't really matter. Their team needs is a small forward and power forward. Exactly. In my opinion, they need small forward and power forward, and mainly they need to get quality 2-way small forwards and power forwards. Someone that can be able to give you something offensively alongside defense. I think they've been doing this thing year in and year out where they go for these players that can give you something on one side, but nothing on the other side. You need to let that go because the window is closing. It does. One thing I realized after this playoff series against the Celtics, this past playoffs, the window of the Joel Embiid Philadelphia 76ers is closing. And it's closing
real quick, yeah.
So you need to decide that. But
Embiid is about to be 30.
He's about to be 30. And James Harden isn't getting any younger. He's finna get traded. And Tyrese Maxey, and I know you say you have hopes for Tyrese Maxey, but even with Tyrese Maxey turning into what James Harden was this year, do you trust that to be your key piece to win a championship?
I don't think, but no, because I don't think he's going to be able to turn into that this year.
No, not this year. I'm saying in the future, because eventually, this is my logic. My logic is eventually, once you trade James Harden, then you get off of Tobias Harris very shortly. I think they probably trade him this year because that contract is now it's not looking so bad like it did. So now you're basically dependent on Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. After a year or two of trying that and trying a different lineup here and there, eventually you're going to look at Joel Embiid and say, "Okay, bro, you done got injured these last few seasons. We don't really have a chance against these other rosters that keep on getting better. We might need to look to get off of you." And I think that's going to happen within the next 3 or 4 years. So no, that window is closing. I think the key signings or trades that they should go look at. They have 2 free agents that I can think of, and these are small forwards: Terrence Ross and Will Barton. I think Terrence Ross is probably the hierarchy of both of them. I think it's a mid-off, but I think Terrence Ross will probably be better to sign because Terrence Ross
is a good defender.
I think Terrence Ross is a decent defender, and if Nick Nurse can run the right sets, he's had him before. I think Terrence Ross can be able to give you quality minutes on an offensive end as a creator. As an off-ball creator, and he's really good off ball. He still has the bounce that he once had. He just hasn't been able to use it because he hasn't been getting the minutes anymore. I think Terrence Ross could help this roster
from the bench. Yeah, from the bench.
I think as a starter, I think he could give you something. I think off the bench he could give you something.
I'll be real with you.
I think he could give you something more off the bench, but I think if you started him, I would not be mad at that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. The bench is I would really say, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I genuinely want a defense. I need defense in that start in the power forward and small forward.
So then I got the trade. I got a trade for you. So we were talking about James Harden he wants to be traded, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do y'all think about this trade to the Clippers? I was looking up on the machine.
Paul George.
2 days ago. So James Harden. No, it's not Paul George. It's James Harden to the Clippers for Brandon Boston Jr. That's a guard. Yeah. Robert Covington. You get Robert Covington back. That's a small forward. Power forward, and you get Marcus Morris Sr. And you also get those picks that you lost. You get a 2028 first round pick, and you get 2030 first round pick.
Not a fan. I'm gonna be honest with you. Not a fan.
Because I tried to do the trade for Paul George, and y'all would have to bend over backwards. Quite
pause.
That contract is wild.
The problem,
even with a 3-team trade.
The problem with having Robert Covington,
even when I did a 3-team trade, One second, Zeno. Even when I did a 3-team trade, they would have the Philadelphia 76ers would have to give up James Harden and either Tyrese Maxey or Tobias Harris to the other side. Which Tobias Harris, I have no problem. When I also got to include James Harden in that, and I'm only getting Paul George back, or I'm only getting requisite like key, like not key, but like role players in return. I'm not satisfied with that return if I'm Philadelphia. I need something a little more that's like sort of like equaling the value of what I'm giving. Because you got to remember, as much as we're talking about Tobias Harris as being a piece that you got to move off, this is a 20-point per game scorer for you guys. And James Harden is a 20 and 11 guy for you guys. So we need somebody, we need people that's going to be able to come to the roster and be able to, at the very least, be able to come close to that level of value, whether it's as an individual or even collective. That's fine, but I need somebody that can give that. And the trades that I saw just did not make sense. But this right here, from trading James Harden and making Tyrese Maxey that one guy, you still have Tobias Harris, you still have Embiid, and you pair Covington and Marcus Morris there, and you have a young player in Brandon Boston that you could be able to groom off the bench on the side of Paul Reed, so you can make your defensive unit a little even better. And Brandon Boston showed a little signs this season for the Clippers to be a competent offensive like creator as far as like his shot creation. I think that wouldn't be a bad trade. I don't think that y'all. That's really.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The problem with this is that you said what was the two pieces? It was called Marcus Morris Sr. and
Robert Covington.
Robert Covington, to my knowledge, if I've watched, I watched him the year before that, so I'm not sure how much he's changed this year. But Robert Covington, if I remember from when he was back in Philly, from then is significant. He's lost quite a lot of foot speed. He's not as agile as he once was. His 3-point shot is even more inconsistent.
It is. It still is.
So,
yeah.
Huh?
His very inconsistent.
His 3-point shooting is still inconsistent.
Exactly. So you are now saying that we're getting an older Robert Covington who's less of a positive defensively, which is his main attribute, and is even worse offensively. And then you're saying Marcus Morris Sr. He's even gotten worse. I know for a fact he's gotten worse offensively and defensively. So
nobody really uses him now.
I agree with you. Robert Covington has gotten worse defensively, and offensively he's still the same dude. I think he's still the same guy offensively. Still a spot up shooter. You want to limit his creation as much as possible. And he is spotty from the 3-point line, but you don't have a lot of quality 3-point shooters to begin with. So it's a spotty 3-point shooter. And then in Marcus Morris Sr., at the very least, he's a better spot up shooter than Robert Covington. So Robert Covington isn't giving you anything offensively, but he's giving you something defensively. What's the problem with just switching him out for Marcus Morris, who we can guarantee one of them is going to give you a couple threes? So that's my logic, and then I'm matching that along with a signing of either Terrence Russell or Will Barton, who, when in doubt, those two are better than Robert Covington and Marcus Morris. See, I feel like y'all have enough guard play. I think
we have enough guard play, but what I'm thinking of is when it comes to small forwards and power forwards, they're predominantly better defensively while giving us some spacing from the 3-point line. So essentially 3D wings is what I'm looking for.
And Robert Covington and Marcus Morris are that. You got to think.
So that's why I'm afraid of Robert Covington, but I can understand it. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm fine with Robert Covington because he still provides a lot defensively while being a spotty 3-point shooter.
Yeah,
I'm less high on Marcus Morris. I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm with you on him. Yeah, no,
I'm just not high on him at all.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I need a better small forward, and I know there's not much like good like small forwards that are below Tobias Harris, but are still free. I don't know. I just really because that's what we're needing.
But that's what you
want to keep for my own team.
That's the problem with finding the small forward.
You're looking for a small forward.
Less problematic than power forwards.
Yes, they're not as prolific as a 4. So I guess the reason
If you're
why
looking for a traditional, you're not gonna find traditional anymore.
No, we don't need a traditional.
They don't need a traditional.
So basically, you're
I
just looking for a forward that can
Play
bounce
the forward.
inside and outside.
No.
You
Right.
need a forward that can play that can be good on the perimeter for the most part, and also help well. So that's Robert Covington. But you need
that's what
a
I just
3-point shooter on the opposite on the opposite end to space the floor for Embiid. So
And
Embiid
But that's what I'm saying. You need a forward. I'm not specifying whether he's a 3 or a 4 at this point.
Yeah.
Because those are no longer existing anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
KD, LeBron already took those away. Giannis, they took those away.
Specifically,
You're not a traditional anymore.
We need to stop your smaller guard.
So
Which
you
is
just
what
need a forward. Like I said,
small forward.
Basically, what Rodney is saying is what we're describing is the 3 and 4 that is just basically going to sit in the corner and be ready to shoot threes, and then on defensive end be able to give you quality defense. And to a certain extent, you're absolutely right, Rodney. But they're not dead. There's a slew of them. There's a slew of them that's running amok on the league. The problem is they're locked into deals.
Yeah. No, I get you. But what they need is forwards. These two forward spots need to interchange between each other. And Marcus Morris, that switch back and forth, but they have to be on the court at the same time, not separately.
And with Robert Covington,
I wouldn't put both of them on the court at the same time.
And with Robert Covington and Marcus Morris and making another signing of, like I said, Terrence Ross and Will Barton, I think that answers your questions as from the forward spot, because you're getting consistency on both sides from one of the players. Like when it comes to Robert Covington, you're going to get consistency defensively. Offensively, it may be a little flaky. Terrence Ross, you're going to get consistency offensively. Defensively, it's hit or miss. Marcus Morris, you're getting spotty on both ends, to be honest with you. So
exactly.
If anything, he gets cut. But Robert Covington and signing Terrence Ross, I think that would answer the question that
That's what I'd probably say. Get Robert Covington back. Yeah, like the more and more you speak about it, I'm more higher on Robert Covington, specifically of the defensive side. Mm-hmm. He's played with Embiid, so he understands Embiid's strengths. Mm-hmm. Having to play help side, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure if you guys understand, but that's what got Robert Covington defensive player of the year. Him playing help side is when you unlock Robert Covington's like biggest attribute on defense. His help side defense is so good, and that's what makes him that's what made him so valuable in the first place. But I feel like teams have forgotten that.
Teams thought that he was going to be a on-ball, a point of attack defender. He's never been that. He wasn't that in Philly. He wasn't that in Minnesota. He wasn't that in Houston. But when Houston specifically made that trade for Robert Covington, when they decided to go micro ball. They basically were looking at Robert Covington to be that POA defender that is going to shut everything down and make PJ Tucker the help defender, which, true enough, PJ Tucker's biggest strength is being a help defender. But at the same time, that's also Robert Covington's strength, and you basically are choosing between the two, who both aren't good point of attack defenders. So I'm looking at this, and I guess I'm just looking at it with the level of which is going to answer my question from the forward spot the most. And I feel like that trade and making one of those signings between Will Barton and Terrence Ross will answer that.
I think
I don't see anything at free agent,
because you get what you need more. Because I'll be honest with you, offense on this team is pretty much sorted with Embiid, Harden, and Maxey. You need way more defense, because Maxey is decent, but he's small, so he's able to be taken advantage of. Harden at this stage of his career is a negative on the end. And then Embiid is having to now carry the weight of that much defense on that side of the court. And I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised how Embiid was able to hold down a top 10 defense this season.
And And to be honest with you, I even think the offense is I think you're giving it a little bit too much credit. I think the offense was spotty as far as Philadelphia.
I'll be real with you. That's mainly because of the sets that was ran. I think if there was more movement that was built on it, there was more movement that was built on it, and the fact that Harden, as much as we do talk about Harden's deficiencies defensively, let's be real here. I'm gonna be honest with you. Harden is one of the best playmakers in this league, and that's obvious. So with Harden, he's still able to rise and to make this offense rise enough to be a top 10 offense in the league. So I don't think the scoring is a problem, and I'm going to always say that. I think the problem is we need defense, and that's why I said I need Robert Covington, because the spotty three is a problem, but it's not as much of a problem of the fact that you're going to need to keep asking Embiid to lock down the paint and not give him any help. When you give him a help defender now, that's going to help so much for Embiid. And now all you need to do when you get Robert Covington is now you need the POA small forward who can somewhat give you some shot creation, can spot up. That's all you need. A POA defender that can spot up, which you can look through in the regular season. You can generally do. There might be a POA defender that's not performing well on their team, and you can trade for that. That's why I think this should happen. We need a POA defender as a small forward, and we need a help side defender that can help Embiid as a four. And then they both don't need to be great offensively. They just need to be able to space the floor so that they don't cause problems with Embiid. That's it. That's literally all we need.
I mean,
I think we're thinking too much into this. That's all we need.
No, you still need a little bit of a bench too.
Oh yeah, the bench too. But we're speaking specifically about the starting five at this point. That's why I was saying that. I think the big situation has already been sorted out. The guard situation has been it's going to be Jaden Springer. D'Anthony Melton still here? I think he's still there. Yeah.
No, he's on.
No, he's not.
So yeah, we do need a guard as well. No, we have Pap F.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, and as much as I love D'Anthony Melton, I think Patrick Beverley could bring you something different defensively. Now, I will tell you, I found a little fact that D'Anthony Melton, when James Harden was off the floor, was a 20-point per game scorer. So he was a 20-point per game scorer when James Harden was
because that year, D'Anthony Melton, when James Harden was off the floor, was given the ball more. So that means he was being an on-ball creator.
Yeah.
So he was, and at that point, he actually got way more confident in his shot creation as well. So that's why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're right. I don't think there's a wrong answer because I think we're all saying the same thing. We're all saying the main problem is we need forwards. The 76ers need forwards, and they need some type of consistency on the defensive end outside of Jordan Embiid's rim protection.
Exactly.
I'm completely with you from that standpoint. I think the only disagreement is what players fit the build.
Yes.
Yes, I think that's the only.
And trying to find those players, it sounds like it's going to be easy, but the trade to get them it probably won't be what we expect, and they might not even be think about that at all. I mean, I hope Paul Reed can turn into a help side defensive defender, or a 3-and-D player. That would be great because you solve that problem for you.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, so we're gonna get to the fun part for us, the bad part for Zeno. Let's talk about best case scenarios with it. You go ahead, Rodney. You start.
All right. So best case scenario, in my opinion, is the Eastern Conference Finals. I just don't think that they have enough to push them to that point. I still think they're going to be a playoff team. There's nothing you really do. They play very well during the regular season, but I just don't. I don't think they have enough defensively or bench wise that would just let me say, y'all are like the number one contender right now. Nah, I just don't see it. I still see Milwaukee being better than them, and Boston, and I would say Miami, but we just never know with them sometimes. Um, and you just never know with some of these other teams. They can get hot at the right time, especially in the playoffs. You
All
know,
right,
Brooklyn.
Joe,
I agree.
what's your best case scenario for Philly?
For Philly right now, I mean,
As currently constructed, if they don't make any other moves.
if they don't make any other moves by any means necessary, I think they will still be top 3, 4 maybe, because like Rob pointed out, Milwaukee's still going to be at the top.
Celtics.
The only Celtics, yes. Only problem is Miami. They can be very inconsistent. One season they can have a great season where we're all saying, yes, they're about to be like the most underrated team in the East, and then the next season it's like they don't make the playoffs, and it's like, well, what happened from the team last season? We saw it happen in the bubble where they made the finals. Next year, get swept, and then so hopefully we can see what they did from this year making the finals. Let's see if they can add on to it.
Zeno, I'm gonna let you go before I go.
Okay, so one of the things I did want to talk about, right, which I didn't get a chance to talk about this week. Why is everyone laughing? What's going on?
No, we're laughing at Justin.
Yeah, because Justin, he tends to go overboard.
He about to go to the left. He about to go to the left.
Okay. So before he goes, I guess I'm going to be the calm before the storm. But all right. So for one thing I do want to say is that I do want to say that I never got the chance to talk about the possible evolution of Embiid. I genuinely believe that with our new coach, he's going to prioritize Embiid to be focusing more on defense. So Embiid's scoring load, I don't think his scoring load will be as high as it's been for the past 2 years. I think he will his scoring will be lower. I think it'll be around 30 points, if not a little bit lower. I think it's going to be the team is going to be played more around Maxey and Harden. I think they're going to be giving them much more opportunities to score, especially they're going to run plays for Maxey, because that was one of the biggest problems about our Sixers team. There was no plays run for Maxey. So when it came to the playoffs and they said, Maxey, here you go, the ball, do what you want to do. Maxey had no reps of that because during the regular season, Maxey was playing predominantly off ball. So I think there's going to be much more time and care put into sets for Maxey to really get off of, whether it's ISO shot creation, or is it going to be a P&R with Embiid, or if it's going to be a two-man, it's going to be another two-man game with Paul Reed or something like that. He's going to actually have reps for that. I think Embiid is also going to possibly, and I think this might, if this happens, I think that we could definitely have a shot to reach the finals. I don't think we will win it. I don't think we will win it. But if we have a shot to win it, to reach the finals, and that is if Embiid levels up as a playmaker. If Embiid levels up as a playmaker to be able to pass out the double team consistently, I think that then we could actually beat teams, because one of the biggest problems with Embiid is that his problem is that when he gets into the double team, he's so reactionary that when they get to him, that's when he play makes. But if he's able to start reading double teams better and is able to play make out of them so that they can't double team him as often, then we can start seeing a progression in Embiid. Essentially, what I'm saying is the only way, our best case opportunity of us reaching the finals, is an evolution of Embiid's playmaking. If not, I genuinely believe, and I agree with you guys, it's an Eastern Conference Finals, because we're just not talented enough. That's just a straight up point. We're just not talented enough.
Y'all
stay high.
How do y'all fuck this up by talking about the worst? Y'all end up mixing up the worst with the best. Anyway, no, okay, so
oh goodness, let's buckle up first before Justin start.
Let me go ahead and I'll do it my damn self.
Let's chew this straw happily. Jesus.
Here you go.
right. So, a point that Zeno made about Joel Embiid is the point that I want to attack. My best case scenario for the 76ers is a second round exit. The reason why I have the Philadelphia 76ers as being in the same position that they were this season is because I feel like Stop. The reason why I have Philadelphia being in the same position that they were this season is because I feel like they have the same problems that I feel like they're going to have the same problems that they had this season and the season before and the season before that. And the problem that they have is they have inconsistent scores. They have inconsistent. They have only one playmaker that's competent enough to make passes and read defenses at a quality speed, and they only have one solid rim protector, and that being Joel Embiid. They have one great rim protector.
Okay.
They have one great rim protector.
I'd have kept it as solid since they're getting exited out in the second round.
And they only got one great rim protector in Joel Embiid, who cannot be there consistent enough because he's always hurt. I think that I think the problem that I'm having with Philly, and more so the problem that I'm having with their roster construction, is the fact that it's built around a player that I don't believe can be a number one on a championship team. My problem with Joel Embiid's game isn't the scoring, because I mean we could talk all day about the drop off. I think that lends a hand to him not being healthy, which he has no control over. And I think that also lends a hand to something that all great players deal with when it comes to dealing with quality defenses. Once you start getting to the second round, third round, which he's never been in, you start going up against defenses that are they possibly have the right people to be able to defend what you're good at. And it becomes the coach's job, and as well as the player, to be able to overcome that. And they had one of the most overrated coaches in NBA history, and Doc Rivers, running that for the last 2 years. My problem with Joel Embiid is what you said is an if, and that is a huge if, and not even an if. That's an impossible if. Is if he becomes a better playmaker out of the post. Joel Embiid has been in the league, ladies and gentlemen, for the last 9 years. He's going to be 30. He was playing in the league without playing in the league for 2 years. He's had time to develop that, to be at least competent enough for him to read plays on 2 plays in a row. He's struggling to do a 1 play. That's my problem with Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is and I mean this seriously, and I'm not doing hyperbolic. Guys, he is a terrible playmaker. He does not see cuts. He does not see people in corners consistently. He does not have the wherewithal to look and see a player that is literally sitting right next to him. They're wide open at the rim. There's literally a play that you can go back to. I think it was game 3 against the Brooklyn Nets. And PJ Tucker was sitting right at the rim, waiting for Joel Embiid to literally just drop it over the shoulder to him. You want to know what Joel Embiid decided to do? He faded away on a Mikal Bridges. That's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. And so when we're talking about the Philadelphia 76ers and how Joel Embiid is at the forefront of this, as great as he is defensively, and I do mean great, I think he should be in more defensive player of the year talks. Offensively, outside of scoring, he does not do enough to justify him being the number 1 on a championship team. He's a great defensive player. In scoring, he's good. Playmaking wise, he's terrible, guys. He's terrible, and there's nothing we can do. And quiet as kept. And I ain't said this for like a year. Rodney knows that I feel this way about him. Do y'all know how bad of a rebounder Joel Embiid is?
It's not bad, but
do y'all know how? No. No, because the rebounding. Hold on. Look.
No, because he's gonna say,
you got me looking back now, and I'm like,
Embiid has not
oh
reached.
God, I knew he was gonna bring it up.
He's not reached 10 rebounds for multiple years, which I'm aware of.
Wait, say that again.
He's not gonna reach 10 rebounds for multiple years, and I'm aware of that.
Oh no. I wasn't going to say that because that can be misconstrued. Like we have some players that some bigs that only average under 10 rebounds, but they were solid at boxing out or something. Joel Embiid is a bad rebounder, because all of the nuances that go into rebounding, Joel Embiid just lacks. He's too lazy to box out the person that he's guarding. How many times did we see Robert Williams get offensive rebounds off of him just simply by going around him? He lacks the awareness to be able to box out. And then when we're talking about just grabbing the ball from the rim, he's running to go to the other side before the ball even gets out of the rim.
That's because he was at the top of the key.
That's another problem. All right, you giving me bullets to shoot at Joel Embiid is crazy. I think Joel Embiid is a top 10 talent, borderline top 5 for me. But when it comes to the playoffs, you need players that can be one on the floor consistently, and also can be able to give you a game that can transcend a lot of defenses. And Joel Embiid lacks that. That's the same. He has the same problem that I feel Jason Tatum has. He has the same problem that I feel
Anthony Davis
has. That's he has the same problem that I feel all players that are contending within that 6 to 10 range have.
My problem with what you're saying though is that for the most part, bigs all have that same problem that they're not able to play make out of the double team. Outside of Giannis and Jokic, those are the only two bigs that can do that. Even the fake third best big in the league, named Domantas Sabonis, cannot play make on the Oscar while he's like moving with the ball. He's unable to do so. Most of his playmaking is stationary. So you can't. So when it comes to bigs, I can understand if you're trying to say bigs can't be the number one on the championship team because they usually lack that ability to play make. That I would agree with.
Well, no, I mean
specifically isolate.
Well, we're talking specifically about Philadelphia.
Okay, fair enough.
I have to mainly point it at him. But if we're talking on a general standpoint, no,
bigs have that problem. I don't think bigs are in general bad playmakers. I think it's a big problem to be unable to read double teams. That's what I think. That's the main.
Bam doesn't have that problem.
We don't. Doesn't even hold. Like he doesn't even run the ball. Like he's not a primary playmaker though. Like the offense doesn't run through him. But we're talking about most of these bigs. Well, most of these bigs that I just named, the offense runs through them. So why are you gonna talk about Bam when the?
Even if you just watch him in the playoffs,
even with Sacramento, the offense wasn't running completely through Sabonis.
Mainly it was.
No, it was run through Fox. It was really run through Fox.
It was a lot of dribble handoffs. So it was a lot of dribble handoffs. So if you're saying that Sabonis was included in the offense, like that's a different debate. And to be honest with you, I think Sabonis had the simplest job that you could ask for, because literally all he was doing was just catching the ball and waiting for Malik Monk, Darren Fox to come around his hip to grab the ball. And it's like
he wasn't doing much.
I'm with you with that. But when we're talking about Philly is doing. And this is a Doc Rivers problem as well. So
I also want to say, I do want to say this to you. I would also agree with the fact that Doc Rivers' offenses always have a problem where there's not correct spacing. So absolutely. I also believe that also hampered his ability to play make. And you also need to remember the fact that Embiid has also played with Ben Simmons for most of his career, which also hampered his ability and his hampered his ability to score because the floor has shrunk more on him. So I feel like his playmaking never really got a chance to I know. I think his playmaker's always had the chance to grow, and I think
Well,
he's actually a
playmaker. But we can
just didn't do
attribute to why it is the way it is, as long as we acknowledge that it is the way it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do think he's not a great playmaker.
He's not good. He's not good. He's bad. He's bad.
I think you're harsh. I think you're more harsh than it is.
No. With all those 3-point shooters on his team, you can easily pass the ball out.
Whoa! See, I ain't say that, Zeno. I ain't say that. All them 3-point shooters is crazy. There is not that many that you can think of. You got Tyrese Maxey and Harden, and then what?
Like Georgia's
Tobias Harris is sitting in the corner.
Tobias
Harris is Tobias Harris.
Yeah, but if he's wide open, he takes a three.
He's 39%, but he's less
low volume. Very low volume.
It's like 4 attempts.
Because he don't get the ball because Embiid is holding it.
Do you want to know what's funny? I thought that too. And then when I looked at it, do you know Tobias Harris actually gets more shot attempts than Harden? This regular season?
Which is crazy.
Which is crazy.
He definitely did get a lot more shot attempts.
Yeah, because he tends to shot create. That's what he does.
Yes. So
which is annoying because we don't need you to shot create when we already have 3 other players that can really force it. We just need you to like attack closeouts and take spot up threes. But yeah, I do agree with you that Embiid's playmaking needs to be better for this team to have a higher ceiling. But I kind of disagree in the sense that Embiid is a bad playmaker, because at that point you would have to say most bigs in general are bad playmakers, which I guess if you're going to die on that hill, then fair enough. But I think bigs in general aren't bad playmakers. I think they're just okay in general. And I think Embiid is an okay playmaker. I think he has a lot that he needs to grow in to be a good playmaker. But I don't think he's that good playmaker. I don't, and I agree with you on that notion.
I think that's what really separates him and Jokic is the fact that Jokic is
I agree
a tremendous playmaker.
Well,
that gap from there is outrageous.
Well,
I'll be real with you, and I've always said this to myself. If Embiid was able to play make out a double team, I think he's better than Jokic, because that is the literal problem with Embiid. If Embiid, other than health, we're removing health from this conversation. If Embiid could play make out a double team, that means you can't actually close into Embiid as much as you want, because Embiid can always find an open man. That means his team's offense is always not going to drop as well, because he's able to play. He's always to find the open shooters so that they're gonna actually score, because it's gonna be easier for them to play off of Embiid's gravity. And then Embiid is also giving you, like, especially this playoffs, he was like the second best rim protector in the playoffs. Like the rim deterrence in this playoffs was insane. You will see Celtics players trying to attack the rim, and Embiid was swatting stuff. You've seen rim. It was called them coming to the rim and then now trying to turn back and trying to find someone else. Like they were. If you was watching the playoffs, his rim deterrence and his rim protection was really needed.
And I think to piggyback what you said, I think if Joel Embiid, on top of being able to play make out of the double team, if he was just a tad more consistent scoring wise, I think you would legit have an argument, not just for Joel Embiid to be better than Jokic, but for Joel Embiid to be the best player in the world right now. I think that is the main problem with Joel Embiid, because he obviously, like, defensively, I think Joel Embiid's defensive impact is on par with Giannis. To be honest with you, if we're keeping it a stack, he doesn't do the same thing Giannis does, but the level of impact.
I'd argue that Embiid's impact this year was more than Giannis, because Giannis had way more defensive help this year.
I disagree, because Giannis didn't necessarily have the same amount. Like, although yes, he had more. He has more defensive help with Brook Lopez and Drew Holiday.
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I would hope Embiid would have a great point attack defender in what's called in Drew Holiday. I would hope that he had a good defender in
Brook Lopez.
Brook Lopez helping him out. I would wish he could have that, but instead he doesn't have that. So
well,
I'm sorry. I think he was way more impactful.
Drew Holiday, I'm with you. Brooke Lopez, I don't think Brooke Lopez would fare well because Brooke Lopez is going to be.
I'm explaining to you that I would wish he'd had the same type of help that Giannis would.
No. But
he didn't.
But I think that
he was able to raise that defense to the level that it was with much less defensive help that Giannis did. That's why I think
no. But raising just because you have Tim Duncan had some great defenders alongside him, right? But we were competent to understand that Tim Duncan was still
clearly the best defender on that team.
Exactly. So when we're looking at Giannis, like he had Brooke Lopez and Drew Holiday there, but we I won't say we do. We should clearly be able to separate the talent he has around him versus the value he brings defensively. Whereas in Joel Embiid's case, I think the best case that you could make for Joel Embiid being a better defensive player than Giannis is the fact that he had James Harden there, who was in and out of the lineup for a little bit.
Yeah.
And Tyrese Maxey is also a negative.
Yeah.
And so he had to basically catch whatever flack they sent his way alongside of dealing with his own problems during the regular season while giving you production at an elite level offensively, scoring wise. I think that's the best case that you can make. But even still, I feel like defensively, Giannis was dealing with the same task offensively that Joel Embiid did.
Yeah.
And defensively, he had the task of, rather than just sitting in the paint, he actually had to roam and deal with different areas. He had to be more versatile.
I mean, to be fair, that's Giannis's power on that side of the court. His value is not being a rim protector. That's what Brook Lopez is there for. So, but that's besides the point. I don't even remember what we was talking about earlier.
We honestly were just asking for everybody's take.
Yeah, we were basically asking everybody best case scenario. And my whole thing was, I think that the Philadelphia 76ers will be a second round exit because I think relatively to the teams that they will probably face in the second round, they will have to overcome a Boston Celtics team that now has Kristaps Porzingis on the roster.
And that's more dangerous.
And that's another big that they can throw at Joel Embiid. I think that they will struggle against Miami because Miami has and will always have the requisite pieces to dare Joel Embiid to be able to pass out of double teams, something in which he just cannot. And then I think if they went up against Milwaukee, I think Milwaukee has the rim protection to make it hard for Joel Embiid to score, and it would dare him to double down on his rim protection between Giannis and Brook Lopez. And I just think it would be a little too much for Philadelphia to overcome. Not to mention, I think as great of a playmaker as I am high on with James Harden, I think scoring wise, he has very minimal creation now that he can do. I watched that Boston Celtics series, even those 40-point games that he was pouring out. If you notice, he was mainly doing it from the
middies and 3-point
lines. He was not be able to create around the rim. He does not have that lift anymore. I'm not that high on Tyrese Maxey. I think he is a shooter posing as a shot creator. I think his playmaking skills can become better because he is young. I think his playmaking skills can become better. But to say that his playmaking skills could become something of what James Harden was able to give you this year, I don't agree.
I don't even believe that myself.
Yeah. So I think Tyrese Maxey, what he is right now, he'll become substantially better. But I think it's just more efficiency. I don't think it'll be anything as far as him developing shot creation. So mixing all that together, and I think Tobias Harris will be gone by playoff time. So I think the best case scenario for you guys is a second round exit. So how do you guys feel about the worst case scenario? Daryl, you go.
Worst case scenario, injuries. I think that's the worst case scenario that could really just be
injuries.
I mean, that's all you can really. But honestly, what else can you say?
Scenario.
It's either you're injured.
Look, I put on my piece of paper. Read that.
I was just about to say that. Don't even lie.
Look,
Look,
it's either injuries or just not performing. That's the only thing you can really say to that.
I actually think I know what Darryl wanted to say. Joel Embiid gets hurt. That's it.
Yeah, no, for real.
That's all.
Joel Embiid gets hurt.
I was about to say Joel Embiid gets hurt, causing the 76ers to plummet to play-in tournament land, where they lose and forfeit another season of Embiid's prime.
Well, I mean, here I was going to say another point: injuries, and also, James Harden just basically pulling another. I gained 30 pounds until y'all trade me.
Ooh.
If he does that, you don't understand how much that destroys his own. It destroys his own thing. Also,
nobody wants him.
I don't think he's ever going to do that because he realized when he did that, he prematurely ended his own prime.
For real. Well, no, I don't think it ended his prime. It ended his peak. It ended his peak.
No, his prime. His peak was 2017 to 19. Sorry, no, 28. Yeah, 2017 to 20. That was his peak. His prime.
I think 2018. I think 2017 to 2021 before he got hurt. I think he was at the peak of his game.
No,
because even when he put on that fat suit, y'all realize he still was as offensively gifted against those players. He put on 40 in the first game against Portland. Still,
I agree.
Efficiently.
Yeah, all right, guys. All right.
But I still don't know because I still think that 2017-18 Harden to the last year that he was a Rocket, I think that he was just way more aggressive scoring wise. His playmaking was way more willing to play making to the sides. I do believe he became a better playmaker in Brooklyn, but I think his scoring aggression went down, and that's why I would say his peak was in Houston, not in.
No, but again, you don't remember when he got before he got.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I do remember that.
No, but I'm saying before he got hurt in Brooklyn, that stretch that he was playing in Brooklyn, he was still giving you 27 and
that 12. Still wasn't the same Harden of before because
the efficiency was still there.
His aggression wasn't to the same as it was in Houston.
But that doesn't just because your aggression leads, that does not mean that you're.
When you watch it play, you can see
his offensive impact,
and how efficient they are, how efficient they are to get into their moves, how much they can draw contact and all of that type of stuff. You can see that that's much more better. I saw, at least my eye test showed me that he was more sharper and more aggressive in Houston. That's why I would say he was as sharp as ever in Brooklyn. Okay.
I
think his scoring went lower. And I think his scoring went up when he was by himself, but I don't think it was to the level of all James Harden. I think it was kind of a decline, but it wasn't huge enough to really tell.
Yeah,
that's why I would say still his peak was in Houston, but I think he was still in his prime.
Okay, I mean we can really disagree on that.
We could be on this topic for about a good another 30 minutes, but we are 30 minutes past our scheduled room
there.
Yeah. No, okay. Well, we'll wrap this up with who else? What are the points we have on Philly as far as their off season? Any thoughts on what kind of moves they can make to be able to as far as what kind of moves from the standpoint of relatively scheme wise, anybody have any schemes that they could be able to do differently?
We just got to figure out. We can't really say anything because one, they just got a new coach. We have no clue what they're about to implement there. So until we see them on the floor, we can't even speculate what's going to happen coming out.
One thing I do want to say though is that he's known for preaching spacing. He's also known for his defensive schemes and experimenting with them. one thing I do think he's going to do is build upon the fact that Embiid is a really good rim protector and not try and force him outside of the rim. What's called the painted area. So I think he's going to try and build like schemes and defensive constructs around Embiid's rim protection, which is going to be really good. I hope he does help force Embiid to guard the perimeter. Or I do know Embiid's going to get cooked on the perimeter, but it's more like it's forcing him to be more willing to go on the perimeter. It's one thing to be cooked on the perimeter and that you're willing than to give it up and it's an open layup. I'd rather you provide some resistance, if you get what I'm saying. So yeah, I think so. This is what I was been speaking about ever since we got the hire. I think Embiid's defense is going to be closer to 2018-19, which was his defensive peak. But I think his playmaking is going to take a small jump. I think his scoring is going to be low though, because I think that's going to be spread out more to the team because because of our coach is going to be thinking about
more team oriented plays. So Gerald is not going to be focused. He's not going to be the primary focus to get the ball every time because everybody knows that makes your offense way more predictable. I think that they should involve. I think that Nick Nurse should look to involve PJ Tucker in their defensive plans a little less than Doc Rivers did this past season. I think PJ Tucker is not the same defender that he once was.
They were wearing out on my boy PJ Tucker's knees, man.
Absolutely. So I think
that's why we saw him get frustrated because we saw he was like, "Bro, I'm not getting any younger." So
no, for real. Like the man. I believe he's 35.
It's like 36, 37. He's the same age as
him.
He
all right, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate everybody for stopping through. We're gonna have to end this for the night because if we can continue on for another 2 hours.
We're about to end it after this.
No, you're gonna keep going for another 2 hours,
bro. Nowhere.
I know you.
Bro, will you let me
already 40 minutes past time? Come on, baby.
Rodney, will you please let me finish this so we can wrap
No, we have to wrap up right now.
I'm literally just finna say that PJ Tucker's 38 years old.
No one cares. He could be 87. He still is not relevant in this conversation for Philly.
This is amazing for our podcast. That's amazing.
All right. So all right, let me just end it here. So that's the end of the show. We saw Rodney dip out.
He rage quit.
But look, I understood. To all of our viewers, look, we're gonna be authentic. Like this is how we are. We're not gonna be sugarcoating anything. We're not gonna be, simple and let you hear what you think we're gonna say. We're gonna tell it how it is. Yeah. Justin's probably he's probably going to be the most authentic person I think out of everybody, but you know what? Yes, we did say this would be a 2-hour show and
we gave you 40 extra minutes.
It went a little extra minutes. So maybe we'll make up some time for that when we talk about the Hawks and have a shorter show. So
so the next team we'll be talking about next Sunday is going to be my Milwaukee Bucks.
That fortunate franchise.
That's gonna be a quick show then, basically.
Yeah, no, for real. I'm gonna leave that to y'all guys to talk about because I prefer not to talk about them. But
the franchise, man.
But we will get back into it next Sunday. Appreciate you, Zeno, for tapping in, man.
No problem. Appreciate it, man.
But we hope to have you on for some more shows.
I'm down to come whenever, man.
Hey, get you some sleep too, man. Get you some sleep.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just running on Red Bull. I'm probably just gonna tough it out until I get my shit done, and then I'll go sleep, man.
All right. Well, the next one, y'all, bro. We'll holler at y'all later, man.
That's the RJD podcast. Rodney Dip, but that'll be it, man. Y'all have a good night.
In a bit.
Oh, man.